Good morning, everybody. We are here for our first regular meeting of 2025. Still cold outside, but should be a productive day and a great day because today is the day we get our annual fair hats. And I'm looking forward to that fair and looking forward to Danny and everyone coming up in a few minutes. But before we do, we are going to do our pledge and our invocation. Our pledge today is going to be led by Manatee County staff member Chris Kopp. Chris received the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with a Gold Star. He received the Global War of Terrorism Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal with a Bronze Star, Marine Corps Commandant Certificate of Commendation, Marine Corps Service Member of the Month for May 2003. He was also deployed at Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation New Dawn. Now he is currently a member of our Veteran Task Force and an advocate for the Firewatch and Team RWB. So that's quite the list of medals and achievements you've received there. So we were going to have our pledge, but before we do, as we always do, we're going to start with our invocation from Missy Perimeter, the Community Impact Pastor for Oasis Church. So if you could please rise if you are able.
Good morning. Let's bow our heads to pray. Lord, we thank you so much for living in such a beautiful community that cares so deeply for each other. We thank you for this new year, new beginnings and new starts. We're excited for all that you have ahead for this community. We thank you for your protection and provision that has been on this county. We pray for continued blessing as we plan and look forward to the year ahead. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. County Administrator, are there any updates to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the updates have been published online, and additional public comment was received from Diana Adams.
All right, and for all the commissioners, you have a copy of that at your seat on the dais. We will move on to awards and presentations. First up, we have the presentation for the 2024 Employee of the Year and adoption of the proclamation designated Ignacia Alves Day, and that is going to be presented by Commissioner Mike Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's always a great day when we can recognize one of our fantastic employees here at Manatee County, and to do a proclamation for her is just, it makes it even better. And you come up, you can stand here. I want you, no one wants to see me. They all want to see you. And this proclamation, Yesenia became the Employee of the Year, which is unbelievable. She's in our probation department, and all her colleagues nominated her for Employee of the Month. And then she became our Employee of the Year. So this is great to be able to recognize one of our great employees. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County has expressed and acknowledged its appreciation for the dedication and efforts of county employees through programs such as the Employee of the Month program. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners wishes to further acknowledge and recognize the outstanding and superior efforts and contributions of county employees through the designation of Employee of the Year, selected among those persons honored as Employee of the Month. And whereas Yesenia Alves, who has been employed with the Manatee County since November of 2012, and is currently a probation officer with Community and Veterans Services Department, has been selected as Employee of the Month, or Employee of the Year 2024, due to the many contributions she has made to the county. And whereas now, therefore, to be proclaimed by the Board of Directors by the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County, Florida, that January 14, 2025 shall be known, designated, and set aside as Yesenia Alvarez Day in Manatee County, and in acknowledgement of her dedication to providing the most responsible and effective services to Manatee County government specifically and to the citizens of our community in general. Now, therefore, to be proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners, Manatee County, Florida, that January 14th shall be known and designated and set aside as Yesenia Alvarez Day in Manatee County, adopted with a quorum present and voting this day, 8th day of January 2025, signed by our chairman, George Cruz. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, here's your plaque, and who's going to say a few words?
I have a short introduction.
Sure.
Good morning. On behalf of Human Resources and the Employee Recognition Committee, we'd like to present Yesenia Alves with Employee of the Year. We do have a short video commemorating her ACE dedication to Manatee County that we'd like to show for you.
My name is Yesenia Alves. I'm a probation officer with Manatee County Pretrial Release with a probation services division within CVS department.
I enjoy helping people. That's just what I like to do. I feel like we get vulnerable people, people who are coming in at their not happiest hour. I like to be a person of comfort, a person who can kind of tell them like, hey, I'm here to help you, and kind of be maybe a shining light, so to speak, to them.
Some of the favorite things that I love about Yesenia is she is always positive. She always has a smile on her face. She is amazing with clients. She does not hesitate to help her clients. She does not hesitate to help other people's clients. They continue to call her and come in and see her well after their cases are over. She is the first person that they call when there is something good going on in their life. She is the first person that they call when there is something not good in their life, because they know that she will not judge them. They know that she will be supportive. They know that she is someone that they can count on.
Some of the things that stand out to me when watching Yesenia work with her clients is the time that she spends with them. She will sit in her office for quite some time having lengthy conversations, not only about the subject matter at hand, the case that's going on, but also their personal lives and how that's going to affect them moving forward through the probation period and what she can do to help them. It's a true back and forth between the client and herself, and she takes the time to get to know them as people, not just defendants.
Most of their encounters outside of our office are negative, or they just have a thought that we're going to be jerks to them, or they haven't had a very pleasant experience with the whole judicial process. So when they come to our office, I like to try to change the tone for them and let them know that we're going to try to help them, that, you know, we can't change what the judge's order, but we can, you know, help smooth the process for them and make them understand it a little bit better.
Congratulations, Yesenia, on being named Manatee County's 2024 Employee of the Year. Thank you for all your hard work for Manatee County and for the Division of Probation. Congratulations. Good morning, Sarah Brown, Deputy Director for Community and Veteran Services. I have the pleasure of overseeing this division. It's so great when we can come together for something so positive and so extraordinary. Community and Veteran Services Department, we are people-focused, and we help people every day. And Yesenia embodies that. She not only embodies that, she goes above and beyond. And we are truly blessed to have her as a member of this Manatee County team. I'm going to turn it over to her Division Manager, Jennifer Berg.
Good morning. As Sarah said, I'm Jennifer Berg. I'm the division manager. Before I say anything about Yesenia, I did want to say that we are all aware that we could not do the amazing things that we do every single day without the support of our leadership, Lee, Tracy, my supervisor, Sarah Brown. And I'm not going to say how many years I've known our county administrator, Charlie Bishop, but I do want to say, since I met him, he has been unwavering in his support of our division, and I want to say thank you for that, Mr. Bishop. With regards to Yesenia, as I said in the video, there's so many things. I could stand up here all day, but I won't take up that much time. But she is truly amazing. She is fantastic with her clients. She's fantastic with everybody. She, every day, is amazing with everyone. She treats people with dignity and respect. It's not to say that Yesenia hasn't had hard times in her life, because she has, but I think that those hard times in her life is what has made her the person that she is and what gives her the empathy that she does with everyone that she comes across in her life. And she does that with clients, she does that with coworkers, she does that with family, with friends, and with complete strangers. And she makes me want to be a better person every day. And I am very thankful for her. And I think that Manatee County should be very thankful for her every single day. And I love you.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Administrator, County Attorney. My name is Janelle Warbeck. I am the supervisor of this wonderful young lady and the nominator of Miss Yesenia Alves. Miss Yesenia is such a wonderful employee and a wonderful person, but she's also an overachiever. I should have known I'd be back up here saying more words today and getting to celebrate you once again for Employee of the Year. Yesenia started with our division back in 2012, which was already said. Over the years, she's worked her way up from an assistant probation officer to a regular probation officer. During this time, she's been an outstanding employee who often has a positive attitude and always willing to lend a helping hand. She works hard for her clients, who are mainly Spanish-speaking, which encounter language barriers and challenges in the criminal justice system due to that. She also works hard for our team and assists wherever needed. Yesenia is the heart of our division, and you could not have found a better person for Manatee County's 2024's Employee of the Year. Lastly, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Employee Recognition Committee. I know they had 11 wonderful people to pick from. I think they got it right with Yesenia, but I'm biased, obviously. But I know their commitment and hard work every month. We have one of our own on that committee, Mr. Casey Wright, so I just wanted to give a shout out to the Employee Recognition Committee as well. So thank you.
Would you like to say anything?
I'm not going to say a lot because I'm a crybaby, and I've cried in front of you guys a lot. So I don't want to do that. I'm proud of myself for not crying. I just want to thank everyone, the board, my awesome coworkers, my management, my family who came. It's an honor. Here we go. It's truly an honor. We do hard work, and everyone in our office could be Employee of the Year, Employee of the Month, because there's other officers in our office that give just as much heart to their job every single day as I do. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, and I have Commissioner Ballard on the board.
Yesenia, thank you so much for the work that you do. It was so inspiring watching the video and hearing from coworkers and management all of the heart that you put into the work that you do. And it is so important because, you know, as you said, a lot of people, when they're in this situation on probation, they feel like everybody's against them and that there's no one there who is, you know, helping them through the process, letting them succeed, you know, letting them reintegrate into society and kind of remake their lives. And it sounds like you are the person who makes these people feel like they have a chance to, you know, to do it all over again and do a little bit better. And so I appreciate you greatly, and it sounds like we're very, very lucky to have somebody like you doing the work that you do. So congratulations, well deserved.
And then we have Commissioner Bearden as well.
Yesenia, I can tell, I can feel the love that your coworkers have for you, and I can also feel the love that those that come to see you on a daily basis have for you. You know, God has a purpose for each and every one of us, and He's put you in there for a reason. And you know, if we could all imagine for 1 second, if we were all in a dark room and there was light in the corner where the door was at, we would all naturally walk towards that light. And that's why you're there, because you're the light for those who come into that door, because they're trying to respond to the light. So we just really appreciate, as Board of County Commissioners, everything that you do for this county. And we're so blessed to have you, and just congratulations on the award. Thank you.
Yeah, as you're saying, I always love these. I love all the monthly ones. I mean, think about it. We have over 2,000 employees here. And every month, 1 out of over 2,000 employees get brought up here as the person in their department, in our government, in our county, that did something above and beyond. And to be one of the 12 is amazing in its own right. Everyone should be extremely proud. But to be the 1 out of those 12 is just an amazing accomplishment. Don't minimize it. I understand you're talking about your department, and everyone in your department is incredible in their own right and could be standing there. But you shined and did something above and beyond. And seeing the people who come here that are the forward-facing parts of our government is all the more special, whether it be a transit driver or probation worker. You're dealing with people that, and sometimes are in need and hurting, and you're a reflection of us, you're a reflection of our government, you're a reflection of what this county embodies. And so we couldn't do what we do without people like you. This county and this community wouldn't be as strong without people like you looking out for the people most in need. So thank you for everything you've done this past year. Congratulations on your Employee of the Month, and congratulations on your Employee of the Year. What? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
if I may just have a moment, Lee DiPaolo. Just want to recognize Lee DiPaolo for his service to Manatee County. Friday's going to be your last day? Yeah, he's done a tremendous job leading Community and Veteran Services as a vet himself. He helped start up the task force, so we really appreciate everything you've done for Manatee County. Thank you.
And I'm still going to entertain motions for approval of the proclamation for Employee of the Year.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We'll do this by voice. We have a motion by Commissioner Ron, a second by Commissioner Ballard. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes unanimously. Congratulations once
Room
again.
empties out.
That's okay with me. Okay, now we are going to move on to what we do once every year. Next Thursday, on the 16th, we start the Manatee County Fair, one of the best weeks of the year, week plus of the year in Manatee County. So I will bring up Danny and his team and his whole crew out there to introduce the fair to Manatee County.
Rookie. Combat under fire.
Thank you again for allowing us to come speak about something that we truly love, which is our annual homecoming. We call it the Manatee County Fair, but it is truly a homecoming. And we are really, really excited. This is our 109th anniversary. And like you said, we're going to be opening next Thursday, January 16th. Our theme this year is Keeping Agriculture Alive in 2025. Our fair is only possible through the efforts of directors, hundreds of volunteers, as well as the financial support our sponsors provide each year. We have 11 different committees that come together to put on the fair. And one of those committees is our security committee, which is headed up by, well, it's not headed up, but the Manatee County Sheriff Department, Manatee County EMS, and the City of Palmetto. They all work together in providing a safe environment for our fair. And we are very, very blessed to have those agencies working with us and heading up our security. We're also extremely thankful for our sponsors that help contribute to make our fair possible again this year. We're very pleased to announce we have 15 gold level sponsors, 16 silver, and 11 bronze level sponsors this year. We also have over 100 youth livestock sponsors who have contributed financially, donated their time, services, or materials to help us present this year's fair, and we ask that you help us in thanking them by patronizing their businesses. While we're only 8 days away, 8 days away from opening, we have two very important events that happen each year. The first one is our Queen pageant. That was sponsored by Arctic Air, and that was in November of this year at Palmetto High School. And we crowned this year's court. They begin their duties today as queens, and this year's winners are Miss Manatee County Fair Queen is Rebecca Bennett. Our junior miss is Madison Huffman. Our little miss is Chloe Harmon. And our mini miss is Emily Rose Dorix. So they're gonna hopefully be the face of the fair instead of me. The next event that we have is our VIP luncheon, which is tomorrow, where we get to announce our Distinguished Citizen of the Year award. Last year, we were very blessed to have Mr. Allen and Kay Butler were our recipients last year, and we're looking forward to announcing our winners tomorrow. For those of you who might not know, our mission statement and the purpose of the Manatee River Fair Association is to promote the agricultural and economic strengths of Manatee County and to highlight Manatee County's rich heritage through the sponsorship of the annual Manatee County Fair and other events throughout the year. And we are very, very pleased to announce that we continue to fulfill that purpose as we have one of the largest 4-H and FFA livestock shows in the state of Florida. This year we have 538 Manatee County youth who have registered to show livestock and plants in this year's fair. They'll be showing 839 livestock animals and 181 plants. We have 78 beef entries, 118 dairy cattle entries, 58 goats, 13 dogs, 29 horses, 110 plants that will also be sold on the 18th. We have 84 market steers, 191 swine, 156 poultry, and 112 rabbits. That's a lot of animals, and it's a lot of cleanup, really. But we'd like to invite everybody to come out and support our youth exhibitors that worked diligently all year to raise these animals and plants. Our steer sale will be on January 18th at 1 o'clock. The rabbit and meat pen sale will be immediately following that. And then we'll have the plant sales starting at 6 o'clock that evening. The swine sale this year will be on January 25th, and that'll begin at 1 p.m. And the poultry pen sale will be immediately following that sale. In addition to our youth livestock shows, we have a very exciting entertainment lineup scheduled. On our main stage this year on opening day, we're going to have Bayside Worship. They're going to be performing on Friday the 17th. We'll have Eric Vaughn. He's a very well-known local artist here. He's going to be performing. Saturday the 18th, we're going to have our baby pageant. That'll be on the main stage beginning at noon. And then on Saturday evening, another local group, the 301 Travelers, with Lance Biddle. He heads that group up, and he is a veteran that heads that up. They'll also be taking care of our festivities for the Tuesday Veterans Tribute. Lance, as a veteran himself, does a great job with our Veterans Tribute. That'll be on Tuesday. Let me back up to Sunday, though. The contemporary Christian artist Josiah Queen, he's going to be performing on January 19th. And we have the 301 Travelers will be performing on Saturday the 18th. I didn't mention that one. That's the 18th. So I'm getting out of line here. On Students' Day, Monday, January 20th, we'll have Pirate Man Dan and Fritzy. They'll both be performing different acts on the main stage. And on January 21st, we invite everybody to come out as we continue the honor of honoring our veterans, the tradition of honoring our veterans. That is free night as well. So it's sponsored by Building Stronger Families. Bring the whole family out. Tuesday night is free. We will have the VIP or the Veterans Tribute that night, but something I want to make sure everybody remembers, it's free night. All we're asking you to do is bring a canned good, because that's a night that we also take up a collection for the Manatee Food Bank. We were able to bring in, we were down a little bit last year because we didn't have great weather. We've ordered good weather this year, so hopefully that'll be here. But last year it was a little damp, and we only did 11,000 pounds of canned goods. But we're hoping to do a lot better than that this year. Seniors Day is January 22nd. We're going to have a bluegrass band, Highway 41 South. They'll be performing. On Thursday, the 23rd, recording artist Bucky Covington, he'll be performing on the main stage at 7:30. Friday, we'll have local cowboy Les McDowell. He's going to do a front porch jam. He has some friends that'll be coming and picking and singing and grinning and telling jokes and poetry. So he'll be up there on Friday night. Saturday night, we have Bayou Country. They're a Creedence Clearwater Revival tribute band, and they are going to be performing the Creedence, the music is Creedence. And then closing out the fair on the 26th, First Baptist Church Palmetto will be performing on the main stage. So our daily lineup is just as exciting as our main stage acts. We have the Jurassic Kingdom Dinosaur Show. It really truly looks like living dinosaurs. So we're going to have a big giant 40-foot dinosaur out there, but they also, it's a very, very educational show, and we're looking forward to that. We have wrestling, Universal Championship Wrestling will be back again this year. Les McDowell, his Cowboy Camp. We have the Barnyard Cackle Review, the Turnaround Petting Zoo, Florida Ag Experience, Purgatory Iron Works. He's going to be demonstrating, Trent Ty's going to be demonstrating the art of old school woodworking and blacksmith. And he called me 2 days ago. He's bringing a lady that is going to be baking biscuits, homemade biscuits. And they're going to do it over what do you call it, a Dutch oven. Dutch oven just in a stove, and he's really excited about doing that for us. Our arts and crafts department, they're going to be receiving all their entries this weekend, and we expect a good turnout for them. Again, the arts and crafts, this year, the 4-H arts and crafts, as well as the Manatee School Art, will be in the arts and crafts building this year. And then we have several contests. Set your calendars for this one on January 25th at 5 p.m. The firefighters are going to look to retain their title against the Manatee County Sheriff's Department. They actually beat them last year for the first time in the donut eating contest of all things. So that and Peachy's Donut sponsors that one. That's at 5 o'clock next Friday. This year, we're very, very excited to announce, after a thorough search, we've partnered with Straight Shows this year, who's going to be providing our Midway experience. Straight Shows and the Straits family are highly respected in our industry, not only for their deep generational history, but more importantly, for their excellent professionalism as they truly partner with each fair to provide a unique, safe, and exciting experience for their guests. Their family has been in the carnival industry for they're starting their 102nd year this year. So they are, there's 5 generations that are in the carnival industry, and y'all have a chance to meet them tomorrow. They're really, really good people. Last but not least, we have lots and lots of food, wonderful fair food. And if you have any questions, go to our website. We have all of our information is there, all the schedule, the lineup, everything. And then lastly, with the cost of everything rising, just want to make sure everyone knows we didn't raise our gate prices or parking prices this year. So in closing, we invite everyone to come out in January 16th through the 26th and help us as we celebrate keeping agriculture alive in 2025. And I'd like to introduce our president, Patrick Bryant.
Thank you, Danny. Again, my name is Patrick Bryant, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Manatee River Fair Association, I want to extend my invitation to each of you and to all the citizens in Manatee County to come and attend the Manatee County Fair this year. As Danny's explained, we have the good weather on order, and we have an exciting new lineup with our Midway and all of the events that are planned out. Some of them are traditions that came into being in the last few years that we've decided to carry on. We're excited to keep these things going and show everyone what's best about Manatee County and fulfill the mission as Danny discussed. We're here to show you what's best about Manatee County and its citizens and what we produce. And as our theme would say, we're keeping agriculture alive in 2025. And for those who don't know, they should come to the fair so they can see the vitality of agriculture and industry here in Manatee County. It represents a huge part of our economy. We have a tremendous livestock show with these kids. These kids are amazing, the things that they do. And if you haven't seen it, I really hope that you will come and check things out. And if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to reach out to me or find any one of our redcoats, as we call them. With me here at the podium is the Vice President of the Fair Association, Peter Voley, and one of our longtime directors, Jimmy Parks. Again, anytime you see any one of us walking around with a red jacket, feel free to grab one of us and say hello at least, but we're there if you have questions or need anything. Thank you, and we'll see you at the fair.
Thank you. And I've got a handful of people on the board here. We'll start with Commissioner Sadiq.
Good morning. I am super excited for this. This is awesome. Last year was awesome. I loved it. Fun is in the air at the Manatee County Fair, so I'm looking forward to keeping ag alive in 25. Looking forward to Eric Vaughn. He's an awesome guy, very great performer. And I loved the photography show last year. My family really enjoyed it. And I got so excited I forgot some of my notes, but no, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. I mean, growing up, I really enjoyed going to county fairs, coming to the Manatee County one. Just, by the time the last one ended, my wife and I were like, when's the next one starting up? So really appreciate you guys coming out. You don't need to sell me too hard on it. It is an amazing event. Brings the community together and anything we can do. And I have a fully functioning farm in my district, so I'm very excited to continue to support ag. And if you guys need anything from, obviously us, you have our support, I'm sure. But looking forward to it. And ladies, you look lovely. Hope you have some jackets. But thank you very much for coming today. I appreciate it, and looking forward to attending the fair.
Thank you. Commissioner Ballard.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited for the fair. I have 3 kids, and we love attending every year. I actually have a question for you, and I was absolutely kicking myself because last year my daughters wanted to enter the arts and crafts show, and we didn't do it. But it sounds like there's still time this year for my 7-year-old to get a picture in the arts and crafts show, and she can do it on Saturday. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If you'll go to our website, there's a tab that for arts and crafts under fair events, arts and crafts. There's the instructions and the registration form. Everything is right there, and then you just you can either print out the form or bring it with you or fill it out when you come on Saturday. The times for registration are on the website.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and we will have a little Ballard girl entered into the Arts and Crafts Festival. So wonderful. We're so excited.
Thank you. Commissioner Feltz. It'll turn red. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you so much for continuing a tradition that absolutely highlights one of the best parts of Manatee County. Coming out there from Mayaca, you know that's where we're at with all those 4-H kids and our future farmers. And it's a very, very important part of our culture and our history and hopefully our legacy for the rest of the nation to continue to grow the food and supply what takes a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication for that. I do hope you have good weather this year. Apparently, we order a cold front anytime there is our fair going on. And like Ms. Ballard, I have a question too. Thinking maybe I should enter that whip cracking contest this year. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Do you have a senior division for this? Because I'm not going up against some 5-year-old, okay?
We do have 5 divisions.
Senior.
I
Senior.
don't know that we have a senior, but we'd love to have you come out and be part of it. That'll be Saturday, the 25th at noon. That's when that is. That's when.
All righty, well, put me down, and I challenge the rest of the group. No?
I think you're going to win that one.
You think so? All right, well, thank you so much, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Feltz. And now we'll go to Commissioner Bearden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, the fair is awesome. I love the fair every single year. I love the fact that this county is all agricultural and has been for decades. And so it's just an awesome time of the year. My kids love it. I have a question, though. What do you guys do with the grand champions? Do you guys
Come to
continue
the VIP lunch
I
tomorrow.
don't eat them, but they get sold to the highest bidder.
So they don't go to another show or anything
No,
like that?
no.
Okay.
All of our sale animals,
Yeah.
it is a
The big
terminal
show.
sale.
Got it, okay. All right, that's good to know. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
You can see it at Detweiler's.
All right. Commissioner Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm so proud of our fair. You guys do such a fantastic job. I had a blast last year. I would ask you guys to put a warning out there. Don't eat hot dogs and then go on the zipper ride. You won't, but congratulations, ladies, on being the fair court, and we look forward to the fair. I'll be out there. It's a great time. I tell all of our residents to go to the fair. It's wonderful. Bring your families. It's a family event, and it's just an all-around good time. So thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you for the court for coming. I will say, as I'm listening, and I was paying attention to you, the mini miss, Emily Rose Dorks, you have kept that smile on the entire time. You are showing up everybody else in this room right there. You are working your way up that ladder and doing an amazing job. But yeah, everyone looks forward to this fair. It's a great thing for the community. Everybody comes to it. You'll see everybody at this fair. If you're not walking around with some sirloin tips and a Peachy's donut, literally the size of your face, I don't even know what you're doing in January. I would highly encourage, this is a little my personal preference, but I would highly encourage going on Sunday. Josiah Queen is a great singer. If you haven't heard him, go on Spotify. His first CD is called The Prodigal. It's a great CD. And he's from Tampa. He's right around the corner. And he's like a 20 or 21-year-old kid. I'm really looking forward to that. My whole family's coming out, in part just to see him, but also, obviously, to come to the fair and eat a donut the size of my face. So thank you very much for putting this on once again. The county appreciates you, and we're all looking forward to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, as they're walking out, we will move on to consent. Are there any items any commissioners want to pull from the current consent? Seeing none, I am going to pull item number 10. And just for staff, and I think they know I was going to pull it, but just for staff, because it's very broad, it's a budget amendment resolution. The fact that Charlie's standing in the back, he probably knows it has to do with number 7 on that. But I told them I was going to pull it for discussion. So we will now move on to citizen comments on consent agenda minus item number 10. If any citizens want to speak on any of the consent other than number 10, you can come up now. Nobody's on the board. Seeing nobody, I'll go to the phones. Is there anyone on the phone who wants to speak on consent minus item number 10?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment on that, and I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 10. So moved. Second. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bearden, seconded by Commissioner Sadiq. If there is no discussion, I will take a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to citizen comment for future agenda items. I have nobody, oh, that's consent. I have one person on the board, Ms. Andrew Griffin.
Good
Morning, Board. Andrew Griffin, Manatee County activist, advocate. So the first thing that I'd like to discuss is obviously the kennels. This was something that we discussed. I haven't been here in a while. You guys know that. And these were things that were discussed prior to me not being here. And we're still here. This is almost 2 years later. And we're still here related to this animal shelter that's being slow walked. But that's not the most concerning. I think the most concerning, which is a little late than never, but $500,000 for design services. I'm just getting my feet wet with the animal shelter and trying to figure out why we're still here. And then I'm hearing rumors that our volunteers are being fired for being whistleblowers. And that's a very concerning situation for me because I do, similar stuff where we see a problem, we open our mouth, we see something, we say something. So I'm a little concerned about that and would like a little more information or an update in a future meeting about the state of our shelter and the moving over to Bishops. The other item is veterans, resources for veterans this time of year. I know that we have Tunnels to Tower coming in. I know I hear the calls of Glenn Gibolina about what we're going to do for vets now. Do we have anything in place for our vets this winter? Because I'm telling you, I'm from Florida. I woke up this morning, I'm freezing. And it's breaking my heart to think that there's people on these streets that have no blankets, no pillows, no nothing, no jackets. And I just want to know what our county's planning on doing for those people. And then, of course, yesterday, I really enjoyed coming here and listening to you guys all work together and trying to figure out all the problems that we have that are facing Manatee County. And, it's hard not to think that there's some way we can start trying to lower taxes here for our citizens. Taxes are starting to get up there. Our services are starting to diminish. And I want to hear more this year about how we're planning on reducing the taxes here for Manatee County citizens. And that's what I have for my future agenda. And I will be working on those 3 efforts moving forward until we have resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else on the board. Mr. Taylor?
Good morning, John Taylor, Manatee County resident. I want to address a future potential item that was mentioned yesterday in a meeting. A building moratorium was thrown around. Y'all, this is a fresh board, and the majority of what was said yesterday was fantastic. It was strategic, appropriate. However, going from an extreme of nearly everything being approved to even a partial moratorium is irresponsible. There is probably potential to do something specific east of the FDAB line, given the already gray area for qualifications out there, but more importantly, the no infrastructure. That being said, I don't know what we're doing with eliminating the opportunity to build a responsibly designed development inside the FDAB for proper infill, which would boost county savings. Building out roads in an economical way where there is housing consolidated is financially responsible. Certain areas shouldn't be built out. To Commissioner Ballard's point, the Cortez Fishing Village and Elwood Park should not see high density. The idea that building will happen in West Bradenton is flimsy. Very few lots are big enough, and the expense to eminent domain and widen roads and increase density in an area where we can't afford to increase the road size seems financially wasteful. The Lakewood Ranch area is prime for expansion. That's why it's happening there. The roads can be expanded with minimal property purchase while infilling the most people. It's bang for the buck. This board will have every right to vote down illogical developments and approve those that are beneficial to the community. I want to push again that Florida Water Star is the opportunity to achieve the goals of what almost every commissioner said yesterday. Retain water runoff, conserve resources, save homeowners money, enhance the local environment. A quick statistic is the average 2-person home that is abiding by Florida Water Star rules saves 45,000 gallons of water a year and $500 in the pocket of the homeowner. I've emailed every commissioner that I have not already had a meeting with. I hope you can respond to that so we can talk about this more. In lieu of a moratorium, many counties are implementing that Florida Water Star certificates be certified and issued before a CO can be given. So there are other opportunities here. This board is in a very powerful position, and I hope that we don't shut the spigot off to opportunity and progress. I've got 20 seconds left, so real quick, the Lorraine Road, I was at the meeting when we were going to approve. You know, there was a drawing, we had a full design, and we were waiting for funding. After the discussion yesterday about how that road's not where we thought it would be, that was fast. It's not where we thought it would be. I emailed a gentleman who was at the meeting. He told me that funding was an issue for that road, so it seems odd to eliminate the ability to build when we have roads that already have the designs and the location for it. Thank you.
Mr. Giuliano.
For the record, Glenn Giuliano, 40 years, taxpayer, voter. I disagree on the moratorium. I think we need a pause on it. You know, you call a contractor up now because you had hurricane damage, they tell you to whistle Dixie. There's just so much work right now repairing the damage that's already here, that a pause on new development wouldn't hurt anybody economically. And probably they could charge more money going to a single homeowner that has hurricane damage than cookie-cutter houses at a set price. So that's my thought on that. I sent you the 12 pages of the concurrency this morning. There's a lot in there. I think you can find the way to help the citizens of Manatee County. I've looked over it. I'm not a lawyer, so it's pretty difficult for me to decipher some of the wordage, but I'm sure Dr. McCain and others can. So I'm excited about the lots that you said might be available. When can we have that list of county-owned vacant lots? Hopefully you put a timeline on that, because infill projects is a passion of mine. I think there's a lot that we can do. Robert Rules of Orders, I don't know why that was not used at the last board. Seems like we're way out of whack doing things outside the scope of Robert's Rules of Orders when it's in the statutes. And I didn't hear anything from the county attorney from the last board. So hopefully we'll get back on track on that. Sadowski funds, I think the Sadowski funds, I'm going to talk about this on Thursday, is that the funds that are generated in Manatee County should stay in Manatee County. They've fleeced over $2 billion in the last couple of decades. So that's going to be mine. We generated the funds. We should not send it to Tallahassee so they can rate it and send it back. It's unacceptable. Let's talk about the shelter. So in November, I requested a traffic study, which, by the way, in October, you approved another $25,000 for a traffic study. So I wrote your department here and said, what's up with the traffic study? Because they just sucked out another 10 grand, said they needed it. Your own department said, look, in November, we gave them a waiver. They don't need a traffic, not only for Bishop, but for the jail. So we hear from the administrator that part of the delay is we're waiting on this traffic study. It's crazy. And the other thing I want to say is, you know what? This design fee, these guys of $526,000, I called them up. I wrote them. I said, how many dog kennels have you done in the country? You guys hired the Taj Mahal for a dog kennel. Oh, we didn't do any, but we did. We did courthouses, and we do bridges and wastewater management treatment. How ridiculous to hire a high-end place like this for dog kennels. You could have got somebody locally to do it just as good. It's ridiculous. This is a waste of taxpayers' money.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the room who wants to come up for public comment on future agenda items? Seeing none, I will go to the phones. Is there anyone on the phone?
We have 2 callers with their hands raised. First caller ends in 454.
Charlene Gout, Manatee County.
I'm not going to reiterate other people's points, but I do have one thing. Since the radioactive roads thing has been approved by the EPA and the state of Florida is going to be moving ahead, that I would like to make sure that any contracts that we do for roads in the future does not contain radioactive material in it. No phosphogypsum waste should be going into Manatee County roads to poison us. We shouldn't be paying people to poison us. And that's my one issue, and I'll leave everything else to the folks who've already said everything. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next caller.
Next is caller 309.
Yes, Dalton Nelson, Manatee County. Good morning, board. I wanted to congratulate you guys on a good special planning strategy meeting yesterday. I think there was a lot of really good topics discussed yesterday, and I'm glad to see the board moving in the right direction. I wanted to call back today and kind of follow up and reiterate some things that I had said yesterday. I heard, again, a lot of really great points this morning before me. The issue here in District 1, I'm glad that you guys are starting to address it. The thing that I would like to say coming up to these new public hearings and things that are going to be discussed later on this year is out here in District 1, like I said yesterday, these developers are not willing to work with us. They're not entertaining the conversation, and the fact that we don't have basic necessities that all the other areas at least have one of or have something of, like Mayaca, is a really great example. They're still small, but they have 2 community centers, things like that. Parrish has none of that. Parrish really has no way to sustain itself in the county as far as any of the big drawing items like Bradenton or Palmetto. They all have Walmarts, they all have massive centers, which I understand that's part of the village overlay, but just basic necessities for us out here is kind of on the low. And then the other thing too that I like to remind everybody is we move out here into Parrish and into these rural areas for the lifestyle. So, just because it's allowable because of other boards' decisions to put UF3 or UF9 or whatever the case is out here, I would like to see a board that's definitely more considerate of the existing residents, because as time's shown, the more and more stuff that you cram out here, the less and less these systems can handle it. And we as a whole keep having this sentiment, the next person will take care of it and the next person will take care of it. I'm glad to see that hopefully stop with this board, and I just wanted to appreciate all the good conversation yesterday.
Thank you, Dalton. Are there any other calls?
No callers, Mr. Chair.
All right, then I will close public comment, and we will move on. The next item is the new advisory board comments and updates, but since it was just announced yesterday, none of them have requested to be on it, so we will not have one for that. So now we're going to move to items removed from consent. Only one item was removed. That was by myself. That was item number 10, relative to the budget resolution. I'm guessing since Charlie's in the back, he's probably the one who's going to come up for this. I'm assuming? Okay. You knew what it was, so, and I saw you walk in. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot there were 2 people on the board. I apologize. Hold up 1 minute. Still learning what the hell I'm doing up here. Well, you were first, right? Yeah, go ahead. Commissioner Sadiq.
Thank you. Just want to address a couple of comments. One, water conservation is something I've been looking into, and I've asked staff to look into as well, especially around our medians in my district. I've also reported quite a few. I think Taylor's gone now, but I've reported, this is for later. But I've reported quite a few of them, the leaking sprinklers, and I appreciate staff for fixing them. But that is something I'm looking into, and we also have a really good water conservation outreach team. They're at the public markets and more, so they're doing a good job there. And I am talking to natural resources and utilities about what we can do to save water and enhance our utilities so that we're not losing water. And obviously I'm concerned about the water line and the bridge, but again, I appreciate the comments there, and that's all I had for the water issue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding some of the people who came up and spoke, currently right now, today, we have, the last report was 33 homeless veterans currently in Manatee County. That being said, right, some of these homeless veterans, they want to stay homeless as well, right? We could offer them certain things, and they feel as if, you know, they want to be isolated from, and I understand that. I understand that point of view as well. But there's also a thing that I spoke with Charlie about in regards to a lot of the monies that we're allocating currently today. How many veteran nonprofit organizations are we allocating money to?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Commissioner. We're still delving into it, but as we alluded to, we do give money to Turning Points, which supports the veterans. We give money to Salvation Army that supports the veterans. We give money to, I believe, to the Jewish Family and Children's Services, St. Vincent de Paul. So there's multiple organizations we give money to that help the veterans.
Okay. Out of that money that we're giving them, do we know the answer in regards to how many of those are looking or housing homeless veterans currently today?
Not at the top of my head, but don't
Okay.
forget also, we implemented that working program with the city of Bradenton for the HUD-VASH programs, which has also been a huge benefit.
Okay, okay. This is obviously something that we need to look into. I think that as a board, knowing the fact that we have a lot of veterans in this county, we need to be having maybe a certain percentage of allocation that goes to nonprofit, veteran nonprofit organizations that help support a lot of our veterans out there. I think it's definitely something that we need to have a discussion about, because if we're going to be on the forefront of helping our veterans and being a community that gets behind our veterans, I think this is something that we definitely all need to look into. As far as lowering taxes, we just lowered taxes by 0.15 this past year, and you know I'm going to be a proud proponent of continuing to lower taxes on this board, so we're just going to have to figure it out. So that's just where I'm going to be at with that. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
one more reminder to Commissioner Bearden and the crowd. We implemented the Veterans Connections program here recently, where any vet can call and get a ride to their doctor's or dental appointment. That's a beta program that Manatee County has implemented. We're one of the first, and that is up and running now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's just been a great ongoing conversation with the Veteran Connections, and I appreciate Charlie for, you know, really being on the forefront of that and working with other veterans within Manatee County to really bring that to the forefront. This is going to be amazing once it's done. I know it could take several years to finally get it in place, but I mean, I just really appreciate everything you do for that. So thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Ballard.
So, Commissioner Bearden, you actually kind of sparked an idea when you were talking, and I wanted to bring to your attention an organization, a nonprofit that the county currently supports that's doing really excellent work, and they're located right here downtown. It's called the Academy, and what they do is it's kind of a day program, and they do skills training and kind of job training and placement for people who have mental health concerns. So it's all adults with mental health concerns. And we do support them currently. I'm wondering if maybe we can partner with them more closely and enhance the work that we're doing with them specifically to help veterans who have mental health concerns, to, you know, get them back integrated into the community and help them rebuild skills and find jobs. So that's an organization that we're already working with pretty closely, and that I think we could enhance that relationship and maybe focus more specifically on working with veterans with that already existing relationship. So that's something I'd like to look into ASAP.
Thank you. Yeah. What I was going to say to Commissioner Beard is we have budgets coming up this summer. maybe that's something you want to look into with Charlie and Tracy and others. We have a children's fund that's targeted towards children. We have an adult fund targeted toward, maybe we should be looking into a veteran fund of specific buckets of money with an advisory board that can guide us into using it the right way, whether it's for homeless veterans or part of the Veteran Connect. That's something you should look into when the budget comes up to propose some percentage of general funds be reallocated towards that. I think this board will be open to hearing that. In the interim, the Academy's an amazing program. I absolutely love the Academy, and that's an excellent idea, Commissioner Ballard, that I hadn't thought of. But I would encourage everybody up here on this board to reach out to the Academy and get a tour. What they're doing over there is really cool. There's one in Sarasota, there's one now here in Bradenton.
Chair, with your permission, I'd like to bring up something that we're doing with the Academy, potentially, that's really exciting.
Go ahead.
So we are working currently with the Academy, hopefully to reopen the Courthouse Cafe with their
Cooks?
Yeah, with their
Culinary
cooks
people.
and their culinary people to actually run that day to day. The Courthouse Cafe has been closed for several years. People really would like to have it back open. We've had a couple places in there that haven't been successful. We're just kind of in an exploratory phase right now, but it's looking really good and really exciting. I think it could be a real win-win. So
I love it, and they're amazing cooks.
they are. The food is
The lunch I went to over
awesome.
there when they cooked food was
Yeah.
insanely good. We tried to get them to cater the Kiwanis. Of course, it was too big. They couldn't do that scope, but they do have a full kitchen over there. But that's an excellent idea. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Are there any other comments about future agenda items? No? Okay, then we will move on to Charlie and items pulled from consent, which was simply item 10, and it's number 10 within item 10. I apologize. I said it was number 7 within item 10. This is the one I pulled, so I'll give you a heads up. This is something I've banged a drum on multiple times since I got on this board. I still fundamentally, I know what the resolution says. I know the resolution is very broad in terms of what we can use the environmental land tax for. But from day one, I've made the argument twofold. One, we can't bond enough to buy enough land with it because our bonding capacity was restricted based on the ballot, and we discussed adding that to the 2024 ballot. We didn't. That ship sailed at least till 2026. So we're working with what we have. We collect way more millage than we could ever bond here. So yes, we end up with this discretionary fund of capital. But I promise you with all my heart, regardless of what your resolution says, 71% of the citizens of Manatee County, at no point in time when they went to the ballot box in 2020, voted to tax themselves 0.15 mils to purchase a dump truck. Nobody, 0 of those people said, I really hope this additional tax I'm giving to the government is buying a skid steer, a dump truck, and a utility trailer for maintenance. That's not what it was. People wanted this tax because they want us to buy land. They want us to buy land to protect it from development. They want us to buy land to protect our environment and protect them from flooding. Hard stop. And I've said from day one, I've had this conversation way back with Jan Brewer years ago, that 100%, the good faith of this board should be 100%. 100% of that money should go towards acquisition of land. And if we acquire the land, now the onus is on us to determine how to operate it, how to maintain it, how to improve it. Because most of the land, people don't care if there's a swing set on there, or a bathroom on there, or a fancy wooden bridge. They just want the land protected from someplace. And then I was told, well, you know, the resolution says we can use money from this fund to improve the land we buy with the fund. This isn't even implying that. This is buying a bunch of trucks for quote-unquote Manatee County preserves. I mean, am I to believe that some of these trucks are going to go to DeWitt Preserve and Robinson Preserve and places that weren't even part of the LMAC? Because that really doesn't jive with what I was told. So I understand the need to purchase vehicles, but this just happened to be, I'm not so much complaining about this line item so much as this is a line item that becomes a placeholder to bring up something I've brought up in the past. I do not believe these environmental land funds should be used for anything other than environmental lands. That's it. This is $216,000 that if parks or property management or anybody else wants to purchase, they should be coming out of their budget to figure out how to purchase it. And if not, nobody cares that we have an open field that doesn't have fancy trails. What they want is just not a building on it. That's what they want. So I'm just against using environmental lands for anything other than purchase. That's just my opinion on that. And that's why I pulled it. I think if the resolution says it and we're using that resolution for it, that resolution should be changed internally, because I don't like using that money for trucks. It's the opposite of what we're supposed to be using it for. But I do have a couple of people. I'll let you respond first, because I'm talking directly to you, and then I have a handful of people on the board. So go ahead.
And just a matter of clarification, it's a utility trailer that has a lift. So I'm sorry, it's not a dump truck, but a trailer with a lift, pull behind a pickup truck. But yes, you have explained and expressed your position on this frequently through the years. And I have to offer that when the referendum was put together, there was fact sheets, frequently asked questions, questions about the ability for the county to be able to maintain the property that we acquire. The language, I believe, was written to include the provisions to allow the millage collected to be used for the maintenance of new properties and staffing to direct those new properties as they came on. There was a decision by the previous board to extend that allowance to existing properties. And that direction was passed down through the administrator to the Office of Financial Management. And since then, when we have expressed a desire to acquire equipment for maintaining our properties, or when we've expressed a desire to obtain a match for a grant for restoration that's often required to get the grant, we have been directed to utilize the millage funds, so-called 831 funds, for those purposes. Coming from the previous board, and if this board wants to reevaluate that, I would suggest that we could have this discussion through a workshop with you, where we can explain the functions and requirements to first acquire the land, and then make sure that once acquired, that land either is restored to meet goals for wetland restoration and new habitat restoration, or more importantly, that it is not overrun with the exotics, plant exotics in Florida that stand ready and pose from the perimeter to invade and reassess properties and take them over. So there are certain management requirements at a minimum. I won't go any further, because I think it would be good if we could explain the full gamut of services that the department provides, the divisions provide, how we feel that aligns with the referendum language, and seek your counsel and advice moving forward.
Sure, I appreciate that. But I have 3 commissioners on the board. Commissioner Beard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Charlie, I had this conversation with you a few weeks ago, didn't
Yes,
I?
sir.
In regards to how much we're spending and what we're taking in. Just so the board knows, how much are we actually spending on environmental lands, and how much are we spending on actual, the employment to manage the environmental lands that's being cut out from the millage that's coming in?
Our budget this year, drawing from those millage funds, is roughly is Sheila in the audience? Yeah. I'm going to say roughly 5.2 million, or is it 5.7?
Well, your budget should be more next. Well, 0.15 mils is substantially higher than that.
Well, yes, of course. Well, the hierarchy for the millage is first retired to address the debt service of any borrowing that we do. And the second is to cover the expenses for new properties. Third, to cover the expenses for existing properties. And fourth, to provide funding for matches for the grants that we support. Because I would offer that much of our restoration, in fact, I'd say 90% of it, is accomplished through state and federal grants that also require matches to obtain those funds. But
So what is the percentage that we're spending on?
5.5. $5.5 million is going to those functions of
Okay.
staff support. Debt retirement right now is approximately 3. It includes debt service. Okay, it will include debt service. I'm sorry then. So I didn't know it included the debt service. So we got $5.7 million for operations and debt service, which leaves approximately $2 to $3 million each and every year for cash
That's what I was
available
saying.
for pay-as-you-go. Well, and we've often said this can be
So the majority
cash
of-
accumulated for 2 purposes.
Yeah. So
Grant.
the majority of the funds that are coming in are being spent on staff and upkeep of the current lands that we currently have in place. So
35
maybe we're only spending maybe $2 million a year on environmental lands.
Well, 30,000 acres to take care of. But I would offer that we have also completed purchases of environmental land utilizing approximately $30 million of our debt service.
So let me ask you this,
availability.
before that happened, before we took in the millage, where was the budget coming from then?
Your general fund.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, first off, Charlie and I go back a long, long way here. And I sat on the LMAC committee as an appointee and now being the commissioner liaison. And things that maybe those who haven't been around as long or whatever, when this tax came up, I was not in favor of it, mainly because I will never vote to increase taxes, and the more money we give, the more money we seem to find a way to do something with that gets kind of mired in the field there. When this, and I've said this to Charlie, I've said it at LMAC meetings before, when this tax was proposed, people had the envision of us buying large swaths of land and leaving it alone. What I don't think people understood was that the criteria for these lands was very, very high. They had to serve more of a purpose than just being a large open land. They had to contribute to water quality, contribute to stormwater controls. There is a lot more to it than let's just buy a piece of land and leave it alone. Having said that, and again, this did come up in an LMAC meeting in the last couple of years where we did ask how much money are we getting. And also what people didn't understand is that when these lands went through a very strict criteria to meet a very strict criteria, and then the funding to purchase these lands was often a financial package that was put together, not just from I think it averaged out to about $26 a year tax increase on our property taxes, and that these purchases were made by putting a financial package together with other funds and grants. Having said that, we did have a meeting where there was a question as to exactly what the budget was for income and expenses for the LMAC funds, which Sheila did a fantastic job of explaining all that. But I will tell you that there were even members on that committee that were not aware that a portion of this tax was going towards our current preserves. And we have had to hire people. You know, we brought Deborah Wothen, we've brought Hannah in. Unfortunately, any time that we do something, you know, it takes people to administer a project or to bring in the new skills that might be needed to execute the intention of the tax. Having said that, though, realizing that we might be looking at a little different board, a little bit of different direction now. The first couple purchases, the first couple lands that we were dealing with were smaller portions, more in town. Now we're looking at larger 500-acre type places, things like this, that maybe some of the smaller places that we bought into, they had to provide amenities that were conducive to those communities, walking trails, interpretive stations, things like that added to the expense and the cost. Now that we're looking at what I think people actually thought this was going to do, which is your 500-acre parcels, there is a little bit of maintenance that maybe people don't understand, that even if you are maintaining a wild preserve or you're trying to maintain the integrity of an environmentally sensitive land, you do have to do things like remove invasive plants. We may not need to do things like have a ranger station and an interpretive museum and shell marl paths and trails. Eventually people could make their own. But I understand there are some times that we're going to be making requests or items that we might see as out of what we propose this property tax increase to do, but they're part and parcel of getting that done. However, having said that, I would like to look at some of the criteria and some of the distribution of funds that we are using this tax for. I think that we need our Natural Resources Department to also contribute to our natural resources county-wide, meaning instead of just focusing on these particular environmental parcels, to be a part of our building and development process, which they haven't really been, because we have a lot of environmental issues in that we haven't been involving our Natural Resources Department, that I think that that's something they should be involved in for the benefit of the county. If we had possibly more input to our green spaces and preservation of some areas there, we wouldn't have needed to raise our property taxes to buy environmental lands. So having said that, and as the Commissioner Liaison for the LMAC, having worked with Charlie for a long time, I definitely understand concerns about our budget restraints. I wouldn't deny him a dump truck if he needs a dump truck.
Not a dump truck.
Why is that not a dump truck? Okay.
A utility dump trailer.
A utility dump trailer, yes. But I would like to have a discussion in the future about that criteria for our environmental lands purchases. I think that it needs to be dropped down a notch. I think it's just too much, and we end up having to put too much into it that wasn't the point of it at all. And I'd also like to see our natural resources get more involved in preserving our natural resources county-wide, and instead of just these pockets of lands that end up costing us a lot more than we think, because then we have the preservation and all that for it. But it's a good program. Not a problem having making a little bit more of an expense to that, but I agree with Commissioners Bearden and Cruz. I'd like to take a look at this in the future so that our natural resources aren't just focused, our natural resources are not just focused on these individual lands, but of course supporting your efforts countywide.
Thank you, Commissioner Feltz. Commissioner Siddiq.
Good comments, Commissioners. I'll take a bit of a quick 10,000-foot view perspective on this. The reason we have commissioners asking these questions is because fundamentally we lack a strategy as a county and how to address environmental lands management. So it's a little bit short-sighted for us not to go ahead and pursue a strategic plan, but I do like the idea of staff pursuing it, because at the end of the day, if I have to go to a director to get this information, we've already failed. It needs to be transparent at a higher level. That's not on you, Charlie. I think that's on our board and this administration that would ask us to look into again. Because I really don't want to get in the weeds as a board on program per program when we can have a better view and understanding and alignment top to bottom. So I'll just throw in that. I spent a lot of time obviously talking to Sheila, talking to you, Charlie, Brian, and Charlie Bishop as well about really our finances. Obviously, I've been very critical of our CIP in the past and will continue to be, but the reality is you're digging into those funds and you've been directed to go into those funds because you don't get the funds from our board or haven't in the past. You've been directed to go raid LMAC funds. I'm not going to say raid, but effectively go in there because you've never been given that money by this board. That's really the fundamental issue. If we're going to have comments, saying, let's go look into our general fund to identify ways we can create a veterans fund, then we need to have the same conversation for other departments as well. I mean, how crazy do we want to get with our financial scheming to get projects through? Natural resources has always been overlooked or forced to go out and get grant funding, which has made you one of the best departments at getting grant funds. I'm not necessarily sure that procuring this vehicle is necessarily the best use of the funds, but I will highlight three key words, three key tenets of the environmental lands acquisition program, which is acquisition, obviously number one. Two is improvement, and this, I could see why you would consider this an improvement. On its face, it does. And three, management of lands. And those two things, improvement and management, are things that we failed at or not done as well at. I'll say that, not failed, but not done as well at. I've heard that from constituents. I've heard that just talking to, just hearing it from constituents and stakeholders and throughout the county, not just focused on my district, but others as well. So we need to do better at that and looking at how are we coming into this budget season to do better management. For me, it's about programming. It's about how can we connect sports and leisure, how can we connect CVB, not from a funding perspective, but from a programming or awareness perspective. Every time we talk about the beaches, maybe we talk about Robinson Preserve. I don't think we advertise Duet enough or program it enough. So we need to do that from a budget perspective. Getting to the matter at hand, it's a delicate balance when it comes to the improvement and management piece. But again, I'll just highlight, how many other departments is this probably happening in? I think it's a little bit unfair to be singling out natural resources. Again, we as a board owe you that policy. We haven't really discussed this at length, so at a work session, I would agree we should have something, or at least a future discussion item to just look at what exactly does improvement and management of lands actually mean, so that we're not going into funds like, with Sadowski funds or really any fund and misusing it. Because it's not just about natural resources. It's literally about every single millage, whether it's child services or Sadowski funds or, the facility investment fees or mobility fees we're proposing. We need a common strategy for how we look at and how we evaluate where this money is going and whether it is actually going towards what people want it to. I'm not trying to single out natural resources. This is a bigger problem, and it is a problem. But anyways, as far as this matter is concerned, it doesn't sound like you have the support to get this particular item today, but I do want to highlight you do need more funding in the future. I intend to push for that, and because you're doing great things for our parks and preserves. And residents did not just vote to acquire lands, they voted to improve their quality of life. They voted to purchase lands, to have public access, or at least under the impression of enjoying public access, which we don't do that well at, and just enjoying the lands that we purchased. Nobody cares for land that you can't see, that you can't feel or touch. Like, it's cool that you purchase property, but it's terrible when you can't see it or access it or feel it. And then people forget, and then you ask, what do we actually do with this money? And then nobody realizes we bought all this land. So public access is going to be important, or at least finding creative ways to manage the maintenance aspect of it. But again, I don't want to single out one department. I hope this board doesn't start singling out single funds. We need to look at all of our funds and look at whether we're actually using them for what they're intended for. So I would just call for a work session, not for natural resources, but for all of them. If you want to go after one fund, go after all of them. That's my perspective on it. Thank you.
Thank you. And no one else is on the board, so I'll just kind of finish this up. I don't think this is going after one fund. First off, we do have work sessions. We have work sessions every day in June. It's the budget season, and you'll be a part of it, and we have that discussion, and we can move money around and allocate money as we see fit. And if natural resources and parks needs more money, then we can certainly have that discussion as a board with the money that some people come up during public comments and tell us we've got hundreds of millions of dollars just falling out of our pockets. We can buy all kinds of dump trucks. But Parks Funds does have sources of funds. Parks has impact fees. They have IST. They have our regular budget. They've got a lot of grants that come in. There's a number of pockets for parks, but we're not isolating them because of who they are. We all support this. I support you buying the vehicles. I just don't support the means in which you're buying them. But this one's different. This isn't talking about permitting or something. This is a very specific fund voted on with a ballot initiative. We have an extraordinary level of control that we need to oversee on this to represent the taxpayers in their wishes. Not their wishes based on how we manipulated language in a ballot resolution, but their real wishes in real life. So there's a few of them. Like, if you went out and told people that we took the children's services millage and bought a playground and a swing set with it because it was children related, people would murder us in the streets, because that's not the intent. It's a very specific fund for a very specific person. Same thing with libraries. Very specific millage for very specific. You have to honor that. We have a lot of fungible buckets you can move money around. There are a few buckets we cannot. And to say this is also for maintenance, this is just my opinion. It's not, I do not believe it is. Look at roads. We have a very specific way we build roads, impact fees. Do we use impact fees to maintain those roads? No. Do taxpayers want us to maintain those roads? Yes, they do, but we don't just say, well, they want it, so let's just take money out of impact fees. If this environmental land tax was like a normal nonprofit, and it was on the charity navigator, nobody would ever invest in it, because the percentage that actually goes towards the intended use of it would be so low. It would be like one of those nonprofits that show up in the news like, oh, look, the CEO makes $1 million. Like, this is not the intent. Commissioner Bearden brought up a great point. And even if you say part of that's the $30 million we bought, yes, the debt service. Those bonds were voted at approximately, let's say, 4%. It was $30 million. That's $1.2 million out of your $5.2. That still leaves $4 million of non-debt service related expenses to the $2 to $3 million of land acquisition. That's still a really, really bad percentage in my mind. And again, this is a board of 7. This is my opinion, but it's not my opinion today. It's been my opinion for 4 years. I'm just bringing it up once again. So I'm happy with you buying it. Go ahead, buy your dump trucks,
Not a dump truck.
incline vehicles, whatever. Go ahead, but get it from a normal fund someplace, and we can have a further discussion, but I'm not going to personally vote to approve spending more environmental land funds on things. That's been my philosophy from day one. And I do have one more commissioner on the board who came on after me, Commissioner Bearden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I agree with you, Chairman Cruz, on this particular. Yeah, we're definitely not going against a particular or trying to come after a particular fund. There's just a basis of an understanding of what the public thought these funds were going to be being spent on. And that being said, I mean, $5 million is a significant amount of money. That, I mean, how much land can we buy for $5 million? I mean, that's pretty significant, right? So maybe the strategy, we need to relook at the strategy on how we're allocating funds for specific services and the upkeep of these properties, because based on the understanding, when I hear that my millage, I voted for millage to purchase more environmental lands, I'm expecting to buy more environmental lands with the significant portion that's coming in, right? So that's why I think that this is a great conversation to have, because, you know, if we didn't have this conversation and we didn't know these questions that are being answered, we would be ignorant, right? And so I don't want a board of 7 up here to be ignorant about where funds are being allocated, directed, and how they're being spent. So I appreciate all the comments from all the commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Ballard.
So I have to agree with Chairman Cruz and Commissioner Bearden on this. It's really analogous to the issue that I brought up yesterday with regard to the children's millage. There are certain things that people voted for, and you know how they expected those funds to be used. And even though it might be technically allowable, it's not in the spirit of what people wanted to see these funds used for. And I don't think that that's your fault, Charlie. I think that, you know, prior boards, you know, made it clear that that's how that they wanted it to be used that way. But I think going forward, I think we need to have a larger conversation about it. But I am in agreement with many of the others on the board that we should be using these funds to purchase new lands and find another source of funding for management and equipment.
Commissioners, if I may, for 1 minute, I just,
Wait, hold on a second. Is yours going to be a quick, I'll put you
No,
first
that's
if you're
you.
going to be, okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to put a point of clarification. You are correct for the point of transparency. I see your vision and the board's vision. Just wanted to clarify that within the Environmental Lands Fund in itself, there's other funding items that are in there, like the Go for Tortoise program goes inside that programmatic, and also he has all his charges for services, all the services he provides within those preserves, all that income goes inside that fund. So perhaps the strategy would be to remove all those for transparency out of that funding source and fund these items with those funding amounts outside, perhaps within the general fund. I just wanted to clarify. It's approximately $1 million, $1.5 million that he brings into from other programs.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Feltz?
I want to make sure that everyone in natural resources and on the LMAC committee understands. I've talked about this. The LMAC committee is a little bit different than our other citizens advisory committees, and it became different when we voted in this tax. You know that? So what are we at, like 17 members of the committee? It's the only one that has a representative from every district, right? Or do we have any other advisory committees that have a representative from every district? And there is a difference with citizens advisory committees that handle money, that are responsible for some control of money, and ones that are not. So in defense of some things, there has been some politicalization of some of the things that LMAC has been held responsible for, or for evaluating and things like that. It's a little bit different committee than most, but we have seen some attrition on it because it's a very long and tedious process to look at. And we don't, you understand, we don't get, because of sunshine laws, the committee itself doesn't even get to see these properties unless you do a ride-by on your own, which, of course, I do. But we're not picking on, I guess what I want to say is we're not really picking on one department or on natural resources. I think what you're just seeing is a board that's a little bit more reflective on how our money is used, because we're probably more true fiscal conservatives than our previous board was. So we're not picking on you so much as probably wanting to see more of the results of where our money is going. And I've preached this at the LMAC committee meetings. We have done some good things. Look, we've got Emerson Point down. We've got Crooked River Ranch. They are doing some good things. Sometimes, though, again, what the public had in mind was not spending even more money for maintenance and playgrounds and things like that, but that understanding that sometimes we do have to maintain an environmental property, and that does take money and dump trucks and staff and all that. But maybe we'll be able to do this in such a way that it's a more transparent process of where operations and management come in and where the funds from the tax go.
Thank you. Commissioner Siddiq?
I'd be ready to move forward with a motion to approve this resolution -10, but with the understanding that we should. I'd like to hear more about what our CFO said about finding alternative sources for these funds. In the Go for Tortoises, I wasn't really it's interesting, but maybe we can discuss that in the future. But it sounds like direction from this board is we would like to see staff come back with an alternative resolution that doesn't use LMAC funds. I do think we should be good stewards of it. It should go towards procurement. Maybe we can tighten up the definitions around improvement and management a little bit in the future. That's direction you need from us, but sounds like we should. This is a need. I'd be curious about which parks, but that's another conversation. And then if you need a motion for that, let me know. Or if you just need staff, or if you just have the flexibility to come up with an amended resolution, let me know, or let us know.
Commissioner Sadiq, is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Sadiq to approve item number 10 minus number 10. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Okay. Go ahead, Sheila.
Could I propose, Commissioners, if the motion perhaps could be to divert the funding instead of using environmental lands to utilizing the general funding, so that he can proceed with all his services that he's.
So rather than
looking for.
removing item 10, you want us to amend item 10 to just change the funding source?
Replace the funding source to general fund, and I will change the,
Commissioner Sadiq, are you okay with that modification?
I'm okay with the friendly amendment.
Okay.
Or I'll.
And I'm okay as well as the second. All right, so the revised motion is approval of item number 10. Yes.
Can I just make a recommendation that to do it the cleanest way, can we just allow staff to prepare the revised Word document of the budget amendment and bring it back later on today? I'm sure it won't take Ms. McLean very long to just make the edits, and then you have the clean document that has all the correct information in it that the board can just vote on.
She doesn't trust you.
No, it's just cleaner. It's just cleaner for the record.
I will bring it back this afternoon.
Okay, then we will postpone this vote until, well, I wouldn't go so far as to say this afternoon. It's only 10:30. We're going pretty good.
Why can't the attorney give us the clean information right now so we can go ahead and get this over with?
Because I think the CFO is going to determine where the funding source is, not the county attorney.
I get that, but it's doing an approval right now. So what I'm saying is that she can get the wording right now exactly. We can go on break for 10 minutes because it's already 10:37.
We're taking a recess after this.
Yeah.
Will that be a sufficient time? I'm taking a
Yes.
recess as soon as we're done talking. I got to take public comment, but I'll take a recess now. You modify it, show it to us, we'll vote on it before, and go to public comment
I will
beforehand.
bring a revised
Okay.
resolution.
Okay, it is 10:37. We're going to take recess till 10:45.
Oh,
You want to be on the board before recess? Okay. Commissioner McCann.
If we're going to be clear on this, and they're going to bring a revised motion back, what we need to do is we need to vote on this motion and vote it down, or void this motion somehow, and have them rescind them or withdraw the
Be
motion,
withdrawn.
you know?
I'm okay with that. I move to withdraw my motion.
Motion has been withdrawn. Are you good? Okay. Now we will go on recess till 10:45. All right, we are back from recess, and we're going to continue item number 10, which was a pulled consent item. CFO McLean, would you like to speak to the modification you made?
Yes, so we made the modification. Natural Resources Department also has a percentage of their conservation lands program within the general fund. So I just, swapped the funding to fund it out of theirs budget in the general fund.
Okay. So that's officially part of item number 10 now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's the modification we made. We changed the funding source for item number 10 within item number 10. I'm once again entertaining motions, although I have the county attorney. Are you still on there, or is that from previously? And Commissioner McKenna, are you still on, or was that from previously? It's from previously. Okay. So I now have a motion by Commissioner Ballard and a second by Commissioner Ron. If there's no further discussion, you can vote now on your screens. Oh, I apologize. Still learning. All right, I will open this up for public comment for Glenn. It's my first 2 days on the job, man.
For the record, Glenn Giblina. What a terrible idea. Such a deceptive practice to the citizens when we voted for this. We expected to buy land and land only. That was my thought, and I guarantee you that was 99% of the citizens that voted for this thought. You're right, if this was a nonprofit, they'd be out of business. You're exactly right. The first red flag to me was, well, that's how the previous board did it. That should be a red flag on anything that comes in front of this new board. Every resolution, every expenditure should be under the microscope. So this resolution to say we're going to modify to take it out and get more funds, you're just doing the shell game again. You got to put a stop to it. Say, no, we're not even going to entertain the revised motion because it still leaves that door open to say, oh, we're going to just buy, a couple of weed eaters for this park and maybe, a golf cart for this park. No, stop it right now. End of story. And what you need to do as the LMAC is say, okay, Mr. Hunsinger should go there and say, well, we've got 100 acres we're thinking of buying, and this is what it's going to cost, right? We want to put in a trail. Okay, we need $15,000 for that. You need to go back to the board or back to general funds and say, we've got that money, we can put in that trail. Now, we go over to another piece of property and say, well, this is going to cost us $5 million, but we got to put in a park and a swimming pool and blah, blah, blah. That's another discussion. Then you need to go back to park in the general fund and say, do we have that? Nope, we don't. Well, we're not going to buy that piece of property because of all the additional cost to maintain and run that piece of property. That's the way it's supposed to work. And you should have a workshop on every piece of property that is going to be bought by LMAC and have all the facts and costs related to that property and see if it's a good value for the citizens of Manatee County. The only thing that money should be is for title for a land. End of story. It's a deceptive practice. And for these guys not to come up forward and say, hey, by the way, 23% of those funds were scamming for employees and trucks and benefits. So they're just as responsible. But they've been directed by the previous board and administration to go scam those funds out of there. You're right. They're just like the Sadowski funds, I will tell you that. And it's got to stop. I would not approve this revision because you're still leaving that door open to do the same crap that they've been doing. Vote no. Start fresh. End of story.
Thanks, sir.
Public comment still?
For this particular item, not for
Okay,
your
yes,
item?
yes,
Okay,
public
all right.
comment for this. Jennifer Hoffman, Keep Manatee Beautiful Executive Director, Manatee County. And I just wanted to make it clear that I have been on LMAC. I still advise on some things that have to do with it. And as an environmental steward in this county, the
The idea of purchasing land without having that initiative to restore it and then to maintain it is almost ridiculous. That being said, where the money comes from, that's y'all. Figure that out. But the idea that it's, only to be purchased, it actually does say to purchase and maintain. And the only way to maintain it is to have equipment and to have people who do it. So I would just like to make sure that that doesn't get lost when we start talking about the money, because the things that LMEC has achieved is just been amazing, and I think that there is more that can be done. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, sir. State your name and your county of residence.
Yes, good morning, James Dexter, Manatee County. I'm just an average taxpayer. I've been watching some of the budget and the meetings online. It's the first meeting I came to, but I think it says a lot that you're willing to take some time and pull this off and reconsider it. I don't know anything about the budget in detail here, but there was some integrity here on behalf of the board of just taking a step back and really thinking about what's best for the taxpayers, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment here in the room? Seeing none, I'll go to the phones. Is there anyone on the phone?
We have 3 callers with their hand raised. First ends in 454.
Charlene Gow, Manatee County. I support voting for this and moving forward with it. I mean, it just seems intuitive that when you make any kind of land purchase that you're going to have to maintain it somehow. You can't really just leave it completely wild. It has to be some level of maintenance. And so if you do not use money out of the pool of funds to purchase the land for the maintenance, then you will naturally have a concomitant increase, I would think, to the Natural Resources Department. And they should have that as a projection when they're making their presentation for lands to be purchased. So if you're going to buy 500 acres out in Mayaca or something like that, then we should know at least in that process what they would expect the annual upkeep to be, and if there's any new purchases that would be required to go with it. That way we can consider the entirety of the cost to that we have to shoulder to maintain the property once it is acquired. And that's really it. It's just basic, we understand there's different pools of money from which things come, and voters do have a general expectation that the money is there for purchase, and they don't anticipate having to chalk up almost a quarter of it for other expenses. It seems intuitively wrong. So we can just, there's ways to handle it, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to work on it and clean it up and get it right so that people's expectations will be met. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Next caller is 069.
Yes, good morning. Mark Vanderie here, Manatee County, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Waterline Road Preservation Group. I like the direction that the board is taking today. In the past, our board on this item on environmental lands seemed to be the bait and switch board, and I'm happy to see that we're trying to put an end to the bait and switch. The bait and switch, in my mind, being the fact that you would take environmental lands money and use it for maintenance on other lands that are not part of the environmental lands projects. It's a slippery slope. You could start using all of the money that taxpayers intended for the purchase of environmental lands to go around to all the dog parks in the county and spend all that maintenance picking up dog poop. That's certainly not what people had in mind, certainly not out here. There has to be maintenance funding for some of the properties. Like Glenn Gibolino was saying, it could be it should be scheduled and monitored more closely and put into a program, a maintenance program, so everybody can see what the plan is and how much money is allocated to where and from where. But the environmental lands tax money should be going towards the purchase of environmental lands. Now, I disagree with Commissioner Siddiq on the fact that we don't all want to have direct access to the land. We don't want all the purchases to be dog parks. That's not necessary. You know, out east here in that East County, having a large piece of preserved land doesn't have to have a swing set on it, doesn't have to have a ballpark on it. Just the fact that the land is preserved gives us a extreme value in the fact that we don't have noise coming from that piece of land. We have natural lands. We have birds and animals that are using that natural lands. We have dark skies because you haven't paved it and put lights up all over the place and interfered with the migrating birds in the East County. So yeah, you know, it's not necessary to develop, have access to all the environmental lands. The fact that it's just empty and not developed, overdeveloped, and paved over is sufficient for a lot of us out in East County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Next caller?
Next caller ends in 309.
Good morning, Dalton, Manatee County. Again, you know, I just wanted to tell you guys I really like the way that this board's going, and I like the others. You know, I appreciate that you guys are taking into account where some of this money is going and being a little more, you know, being a little more harsh on, you know, where the funds are coming from and where they're going to and things like that. And I would agree with Mark Vandery. You know, not all the land. I don't think, you know, we need to have like dog parks and stuff like that. I think some of the land, especially now with all the flooding issues and everything, we need to acquire it and we need to, you know, make it natural where, you know, those retention ponds and other various things that you guys talked about just yesterday could go and could alleviate some of our issues, especially in Parrish and Mayaca and the rest of us. You know, the other thing that I noticed just reading through the budget amendment resolution itself, there's a lot of money that it seems to be, you know, transferring and going to different places. And I am actually kind of surprised that so much, well, I guess I'd say so little goes to Natural Resources Department, it seems, and so much goes to these other departments that a lot of the money we don't even really see, or, you know, we don't even really, I think, use adequately to provide the citizens of Manatee County good, you know, responsible, adequate resources. And so I hope that you guys are able to do like Mr. Tao said earlier, I believe, that you can have more workshops and kind of comb through this budget and through the CIP later on and make the appropriate recommendations to staff for changes to be made. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalton. Are there any other callers?
We have one more caller ending in 572.
Bryce Claypool, Manatee County. When the citizens of Manatee County voted to tax themselves, but by a 70% vote 4 years ago, what they wanted was for us to use that money to acquire land. They understood how important it is that we protect our lands now before they're gone and create a comprehensive network of protected areas throughout Manatee County for public enjoyment, for flood control, for buffering storms, for wildlife. And I urge the commission to move forward with making sure that that money goes to acquisition as citizens intended. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryce. Any more calls?
Not at this time, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment, and before we vote, we have Commissioner Sadiq on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the public comments as well. Taking a step, just a quick step back a bit, I would like to thank our current, I guess, prior board members, Commissioners Cruz, Ron, Ballard, and Bearden, because I get there's a lot of the finger pointing, especially from, or there can be a tendency to be quick to judge, especially previous boards on this particular issue. But you have voted in the past to purchase and approve a significant amount of land, and we just talked yesterday about unity. So I think we should recognize some of the work we have done prior boards, or at least current members of a prior board. So I appreciate that. I do fundamentally disagree on the public access piece, but look, no one said we're putting in a golf course on Mayaca or a duet, but we want to put trails in. We want to put just an easy way to just get out there and enjoy nature like we have at Robinson, just having a simple trail and just enjoying the land. Like, no one's putting in lights, no one's developing it, but public access is just that, just having the ability to enjoy it with minimal maintenance and effort from Manatee County. Other than that, I think we're about done with this. I'm ready to vote on approving this motion.
All right, thank you. There's nobody else on the board. We have a motion to adopt Budget Amendment Resolution B 25-025. Motion made by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Ron. If there's no further comment, you can cast your vote now. And that motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much, Sheila, for jumping on that, making that modification for us to get that across the finish line. We're now moving into presentations upon request. However, I'm going to jump one up, item number 46, which is North River Ranch Stewardship District. They need to get this letter signed to get to the delegation today because they're finalizing a local bill to be presented at 8:30 tomorrow. And we've had them come once before, and staff is down here ready to present. So we're going to open up item number 46 relative to this request, which is a letter signed by this board in support so they can present it to Chairman Robinson and the rest of the delegation for tomorrow. Are you all presenting, or is Denise present? Who's presenting?
Denise Kerr for staff. We were going to have them do their present, and we were also here with our slideshow if you'd like to see it.
All right. So my question for the board is, we've seen the slideshow previously, and then it's got deferred. So I'm going to semi-treat this like a presentation upon request. Does
Okay.
anyone need a presentation on this stewardship district request, or has everyone kind of had their briefings and understand what the request is being made? I already have a motion, a second on the board, so that's why I'm asking. We all good? Can we just move forward? I'll open public comment. All right, I'm going to open up public comment on this. We're not going to do a presentation. I see no one in the room. Is there anyone on the phone?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment, and if there, Commissioner McCann is on the board. Go ahead, sir.
Again, the only question I have is, why is this letter needed? And why does it have to say that we all consent to this? We have no objections to this.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Whalen from Keetac Rock here on behalf of the district. So essentially, as you know, this district was created by the legislature, so any boundary amendments are technically approved by the legislature, but House of Representatives rules require that prior to consideration of the bill by the legislature, that the local general purpose jurisdiction, which in this case is the county, basically review, staff review to ensure that the proposed boundary amendment, that property is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and that there's no objection from that range. So it's really just a formality for staff to highlight if there are any inconsistencies. As you'll see in your packages, staff has already reviewed and found that there is consistency with your comprehensive plan.
But the letter itself, doesn't it say at the end that we have absolutely no objections to, allowing this? Why does that part have to be in the letter?
Again, this is a formality that's dictated by House of Representatives procedure, and so what they require is a letter of no objection. That's what they call it, and so we like to include that language in there so that they're very clear that this is what is meant to comply with that procedural requirement. And again, not objecting to approving the letter does not state your approval of the boundary amendment itself, right? You're just stating that there's no objection in that there's no inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan. Ultimately, whether or not the boundary amendment will be approved is a determination by the legislature in consultation with their staff.
I understand that. That's why I ask, why can't we strike? And the county commission has no objection to the amendment proposed by the district.
Again, because the requirement by the Florida legislature is that the letter be a letter of no objection.
Good? All right, Commissioner Siddiq.
Thank you. I pushed for this to be delayed to this meeting because I just disagreed with the process. At the end of the day, we needed some time, so I appreciate the time. I appreciate staff having the time to review this, so just wanted to say thank you for that.
All right, thank you, sir. There are no other members on the board, so if there's not, you can again go ahead and cast your vote. We have a motion by Commissioner Ron and a second by Commissioner Siddiq. Oh, there we go. And the motion passes 6-1 with Commissioner McCann in opposition.
Thank you so much.
All right, now we will revert back to the regularly scheduled agenda. Advertised public hearings, presentation upon request, item number 42. I don't know. This is her item. Oh, we're just voting to continue, okay.
Oh, here, thank you.
Okay, well,
Easy?
no. Yeah. All right. Now, item number 42 is simply being continued until next week, January 14th. I will open this up for public comment. The comments are related specifically to the continuation of the item. Seeing no one in the room, is there anyone on the phone who wants to speak about the continuation of this item?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment. We have a motion to approve the continuation by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Siddiq. Cast your votes now. And that motion to continue passes 7-0. Moving on to item number 43. Who reads these things in the record?
Chad, you presenter, 43, Public Works.
Does anyone want a presentation?
I am terribly sorry about that, sir. I thought everything was on consent in my brain. It's a special opportunity for funding to pay our share of a hazard mitigation grant, so it's free money.
Does anyone want a presentation? No, we're good. I will open this up to public comment. Does anyone have any public comment on item number 43? Is there anyone on the phones for item number 43?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment, and I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ron, seconded by Commissioner Siddiq. If there's no further comment, you can cast your vote now. That motion passes unanimously, 7-0. I did. Yeah. Nobody wanted to speak on it. Item number 44, regarding our library advisory board. I'm aware. You gotta give me a second. I gotta breathe between speaking.
Tammy?
Pam. All right. Does anyone want a presentation on the modification of the library advisory board, which is essentially just modifying it back to what the library advisory board was before by law? No? I think we're good. Is there any public comment on the library advisory board item? Anyone on the phones?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment. We do not need a presentation. Nobody's on the board. I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Beard, and you can cast your vote now. And that motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you, Tammy. Nice work. Okay.
Vacancies filled.
Now we are moving to the regular schedule. I don't know why some of these are not on presentation upon request, but nonetheless, it's not listed as presentation upon request. Number 45, approval of the revised 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting schedule, which I believe is simply just moving a February 5th work session to February 19th, 2 weeks later due to conflict. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does anyone need a presentation on that move? It's presentation scheduled, so I think we're supposed to have one. Okay, Jason is on the board. Commissioner Bearden is on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was looking at our schedule, and I was like, it seems like we have meetings like every single week.
I don't disagree.
So didn't we have a discussion in regards to like?
I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
Technically, they're every other week. The intention is to have every other week blocked off. That's why you'll notice this work session is a Wednesday immediately following a Tuesday work. This month is quirky because we're going to Tallahassee, so we crammed things up. That's why we have back-to-back weeks. We do not have one the following week because of Tallahassee, then we go back to the regular schedule. In theory, we're supposed to have a regular meeting on the first and third Thursday, which I asked them to change to first and third instead of second and fourth so we don't conflict with the school board. And then the work session scheduled each month is the Wednesday, the day after that regular meeting. So that's how the calendar worked out. Don't forget, I tried to get rid of all land use meetings. I got pushback on that. So I'll just clarify. I asked for even less meetings. You guys didn't want them. You guys said, give me more. So that's what we ended up with. I did my best.
So I'm looking at the summer, and it seems like, pulling up the.
You'll notice the first week of every month has a regular meeting, a work session, any land use. So that's just going to be a busy week of every month. After that, there's one regular meeting, is the only other scheduled meeting for the entirety of the month.
Okay.
So in theory, if you were willing to miss one regular meeting, you would just have once a week, one week a month, which is going to be busy. The rest is not. That's how it was structured, to try to give everyone more time to get out in public, get things done, and not feel obligated to be coming in here every day or every week for meetings. But I'm more than open to any suggestions for less. But that's how this was scheduled. This particular item is strictly to move that one work session from the 5th to the 19th because it's a development services work session, and some of development services is not available.
So makeup day is?
2 weeks later, the 19th.
Okay.
Which is the day after a regular meeting anyway.
Okay. All right.
Are you good? If you do want to make a motion to get rid of land use meetings, I'm here for you. Commissioner Siddiq.
More of a question for the board. I know we're still working on our DC lobbying trip. The first week of March, have we settled on that yet? Sounds like we haven't because we have 3 meetings that week.
We have not. That's more of a question, I believe, for DCA DePaul or somebody else. I do not believe that's been finalized yet.
We're still looking at March 10th, but no, you're correct, it has not been finalized.
Okay, that's all.
Part of it, I believe, is discussions with Representative Buchanan's office, getting a sense of what the feel of it's going to be up there because the current budget expires on Friday, the 14th. And so that may be a week where they have better things to do than tour us around the monuments. So I think that's kind of what they're waiting on, is to see what's a logistical week where it makes sense, where we can get meaningful meetings up there. You good? All right, Commissioner Ron.
I just want to thank staff for herding cats, because putting all these schedules together is a monumental task. You got 7 of us up here that have schedules all over the place, but I want to thank staff for revising. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Ballard for making the motion to move this forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, everyone from Courtney to Nicole to everyone on the Sonic Q and Bobby. I mean, the level of effort to get this thing done was to say not just for the calendar, but don't forget, once we schedule these, we had to schedule all the briefings that also have to work around everyone's schedules and their other advisory boards. I thought a few of them were gonna fight me, but we got it done, and I think it's a good schedule, and then hopefully it gives us the ability to get our work done while also having more time for the citizens. So there's nobody else on here. Is there any public comment related to a calendar?
Of course not.
Where are we going with this? I have no choice. We're voting on this.
Well, good morning. Andra, Manatee County. Well, I was here like 4 years ago, and I remember being in this, this beautiful place like every single Tuesday and every single Thursday. I'd like to bring that back.
Factually incorrect.
I'm just kidding. Actually, mine is very simple. Okay, I like the new, I'm not going to have any qualms about it, but I did have a question, and I hope maybe you guys would answer me, even though this is not appropriate. On the 19th, they have the Florida Associations of County Legislative Day in Tallahassee. Is the public allowed to go to those things in Tallahassee? That's the only question I have, but I have no qualms about the schedule. I really don't.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments related to our calendar? I'll answer your question, but let me finish a public comment. Seeing no one, anyone on the phone about our calendar?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. I will close public comment. As for March 19th, anyone's allowed in Tallahassee, I believe. I do not think they have the wall up. Whether or not you can come to the Florida Association of County meeting, that's a different story. That's a private organization that we're a member of. I'm sure you can go hang out there. I mean, there's a membership fee to it. FAC is a great organization. I do a lot with FAC. I'm going to see them tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I encourage everyone, if you want to get your voice heard, it's great to come here and talk for 3 minutes. But a lot of stuff, hold on, sir. A lot of things that actually affect your life, because they preempt everything we do, happens up at Tallahassee. So I would highly encourage people to go. The nice thing about Tallahassee is, especially now that they got rid of the COVID restrictions a couple years ago, you can literally just hop on an elevator and wander the halls. I mean, you can just walk into people's offices and tell them your problems, so have at it. We close public comment. Are you talking about the calendar?
No, it was just for a minute about a Christian daycare. But if you...
That we're going through the actual agenda. At the end of the meeting, we are going to reopen public comment, and we could certainly have that conversation when we reopen public comment. You're welcome. All right, I see no one on the board. There's no other public comment. We have a motion by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Ron to approve our calendar. Please vote now.
Did you say now or no?
Now. Now. For the love of God, now. Yes. Okay, and that votes 7-0 to approve. Moving on to number 52, we are going to confirm an appointment of the Director of Government Relations. This one's a presentation scheduled, unless you just want to be mean and say, I don't want to hear it.
I think she should sing her college fight song.
Go ahead.
So Courtney
Go ahead.
DePaul, Deputy County Administrator, I'm here. I'm happy to read Ms. Garrison's bio, if you'd like it, but other than that, okay? So I'm happy to welcome Ms. Garrison. She started on Monday. We are requesting today the board's confirmation of Stephanie Garrison as our new Director of Government Relations. Ms. Garrison brings a wealth of experience in legislative affairs, strategic communications, and community engagement. Oops. She currently serves as a she did currently serve prior to Monday as a senior legislative aide to Senator Joe Gruters, where she had honed her skills in policy development and stakeholder relations. Ms. Garrison also owns Play Tri Sarasota, a thriving bike and triathlon store that she and her husband transformed into a $1.5 million business and with over 6,000 customers. Her tenure also at Apple spanned over a decade prior to that, where she held several senior roles, including leading global HR initiatives, managing change for a workforce of 200,000, and developing internal mobility programs. A graduate of UVA with additional certifications in project management and culinary arts. Stephanie is fluent in multiple languages and an active community leader, serving on the Sarasota Manatee Bicycle Club Board. Her diverse expertise and dynamic leadership will drive innovative and impactful outcomes for Manatee County. And so she also has 4 children and is married. So lots going on. I don't know how she accomplishes that all in a day, but we are hoping to have the board's confirmation of that appointment today. So thank you.
Do you have anything you would say, Stephanie?
I would just say I'm deeply honored to serve Manatee County, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you and any of the concerned citizens here, but it's an honor and a privilege, so thank you.
All right. The board, welcome aboard. We had a chance to sit and talk. I'm excited. I used to go to your store when it was a different store, and I was more active because I didn't have this job. But it's great. I like the fact we keep poaching people from our delegation until our delegation gets mad at us for continuously poaching people. But welcome aboard. We're excited to have you, and it's a much needed position. I think if we structure this department properly, which I believe we're going to, this is going to be a huge benefit to our grants, a huge benefit to our relationship with the municipalities, and a huge benefit to our state and federal representatives. So, if there's nobody else on the board, we have a. Senator Gruters was on his way out the door anyway. He's termed out, so he's okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Ron, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. I guess, should we do public comment for this too? All right, fine. I'll open up public comment for confirmation of somebody being hired. Nope. Anyone on the phone?
No hands, Mr. Chair.
All right. I will close public comment. And again, we have a motion by Commissioner Ron, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. Please vote now. And you scrape by with a unanimous 7-0 vote. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're working our way along here. We're getting dangerously close to trying to get done before lunch, before not. Item number 4, I guess we went backwards here. Execution of emergency funding agreement between Manatee County and Keep Manatee Beautiful. I know I've been sitting, waiting patiently. Go ahead, this is a presentation schedule.
Yes, good morning. This is Renee Remy, CVS. So back in November 11th of last year, members of the board, you received an email from Ms. Hoffman, who's here, requesting some funds for debris cleanup regarding Helene and Milton. And so you encouraged her to come through our department because you wanted her to go through the application process, I suppose, of getting funds. She did that. She provided documentation on her cleanup efforts. We're here this morning because although Adult Human Services has an emergency process, we don't have funds designated for that. We asked a couple years ago for you to implement one so that eventually down the line, if we did, we at least had a process, which we do, we just don't have the funds. So we're here to request a $25,000 funds and to have you for the execution of that agreement with Keep Manatee Beautiful for the $25,000 for the storm cleanup.
Okay. And I have Commissioner Ballard on the board for a question.
So just a brief question. I don't have any issue with approving this funding, but do we have potential to get this funding reimbursed by FEMA? Maybe?
Good question.
Something to think about.
Yep. Apply it.
I thought the same thing, actually. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's $25,000, and for what Keep Manatee Beautiful does, we need to assist them.
I agree entirely, but if it's not a difficult thing to add to the request for reimbursement, let's do it.
Anyone else with comment? If not, I will go to public comment. Is there any public comment on this request from Keep Manatee Beautiful? Seeing none, I'll go to the. You could say something, but I think you're in good shape right now, so let's see if you can mess that up.
I just wanted to,
I know.
don't mess it up, thank you.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank all the volunteers, because we're talking about hundreds of volunteers giving over 1,000 hours, and we picked up 145,000 pounds of trash in just the month of October. And we followed the claw trucks. So we were not picking up the big piles. We were picking up the stuff that the big pile removers were leaving. So 145,000 is amazing. And it renewed my spirit. I've been here 8 years, and just the outpouring of individuals who wanted to help. I'm hoping that in the future we can be a part of disaster relief any way we can. So thank you. That's my public comment.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone on the phones?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, seeing that, I will close public comment. I also see nobody on the board. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner McCann, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. No further discussion. You can vote now. And that is approved 7-0.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keep up the great work. You guys do amazing work. In fact, a picture of me in a Keep Manatee beautiful shirt is my profile picture on my new Peloton. All right, moving on to item number 5, approval of purchase of door and window locks, alarms, and water surface alarms in the amount not to exceed $200,000 from Manatee County's Children's Services millage for the prevention of child drowning.
Hi, I'm Christy Hagan, Children's Services Coordinator. You all received the presentation. Do you have any questions? Do you want me to go through it?
Presentation schedule, but we'll let you off the hook unless someone wants
Well,
to.
originally it was on consent. It got slid.
Yeah, well,
over,
so, I mean, the reality is, there's some great things we put on consent, and I think sometimes it gets moved because people have questions or
Yeah,
concerns.
yep, so
Other
that's
times it
it.
gets moved because we want the public to know about some great
Oh.
things that we're doing, and this is a very positive thing and a good use of a millage. So
And I
I think
really
part of this is just to spotlight it a little more.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the opening of the advisory council representative spot
Mm-hmm.
in the agenda. That's going to be great.
No one used it since yesterday when I announced
We
it.
will monthly.
All right, so I don't think we need a presentation. I see no
Okay.
one on the board, so I'll open up public comment on this request. Seeing no one in the audience, anyone on the phones?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comments. If you have nothing further, we have nothing further. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Ron. You can cast your votes now. And that is approved 7-0.
Thank you.
Go save some kids from drowning. All right. Item number 51, adoption of resolution R-25006, approving the temporary employment of commissioner aides. Kate, you doing this one?
Kate Barnett, Human Resources Director. So we have updated the resolution to include your commissioner aides as employees of Manatee County under our temporary program. And the goal of treating these positions in this way is to align the service and term of each commissioner, present and future, to term the commissioner aides to at the time to match the term of the commissioner aides that they serve. You will serve as supervisory authority. These aides will receive all fringe benefits, accruals, health benefits, paid time off in the same way as a regular county employee. The only difference is that they will term once your term has completed. So this is an update to the resolution.
So remember, you're campaigning for 2. You took yourself off the board.
I did. I think I'm okay because Kate mentioned specifically that our aides will receive all their benefits, paid time off, FRS, et cetera. There's no concern about that. I'm hiring an aide who has significant service in FRS already, and just wanted to ensure that she's going to have no disruptions and that the process is as smooth as possible for her.
Correct. And this was in collaboration with the county attorney's office, with our employment attorney and administration. And I think there was some confusion because we did start 2 aides in a temporary role, which that term is pretty used loosely in this way. Their employer of record is a temporary agency, and that was to onboard them so that they can serve commissioners sooner before we updated this resolution.
Yeah, and they're being reverted to this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're all good. I'm going to open this up to public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Anyone on the phones?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I will close public comment. There are no members on the board. I have a motion to approve by Commissioner McCann, seconded by Commissioner Ballard. You can cast your votes now. And that motion is approved 7-0. Moving on to item number 47. This is an update on the, for now, referred to Seafood Shack and Marina acquisition update.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Attorney, County Administrator, Charles Metter, Property Acquisition Division Manager for the record. The update is the county now owns the land. On New Year's Eve, we officially closed on the real estate transaction.
But there's no motion on this, right? No. Okay, because I have, so I already have a motion and a second. That's how good your presentation was.
Brian Parnell, Deputy County Administrator. So we had this agenda item on here just to provide an update. But fortunately, over the past week, we were able to close on the property. So that is the update now. We left it on here just so we could announce to the public that we do own the property off Cortez there now, the old Seafood Shack Marina. And we're excited about it. Just want to take a second to recognize Charles Metter and his property acquisition team that did a heck of a job over the last 6 months, really acquiring this property. It was a long journey, and as with many properties, Charles does a great job. He was recently awarded an ace coin by the county administrator at our recent annual employee event, as so many other acquisitions, he showed that he earned that coin and did a great job on this one. So we're thankful. The next steps, we'll be entering programming, really developing the scope of work for what we're going to do with the property. The primary requirement for the purchase is for public boat ramps, county boat ramps. So that's obviously the main requirement, but we'll work with the board through workshops over the coming months to ensure that we have the proper scope of work before we start with getting on design and construction. So more to follow, and if there's any questions, we're standing by.
I do have Commissioner Sadiq on the board.
No, I'm not.
Nope. Our new boat ramp guy.
No, I'm not. No. So first of all, I appreciate staff and their diligence. This was understandably under wraps for a good reason, and I think it's going to be a generational impact to the district. And I'm pretty excited for our plan to add another boat ramp in the future in another location that we've discussed in the past. So pretty excited, especially with the number of spots on this one. I will bring up a few points that residents have been bringing up to me and questions I've had before coming to this board as well. The first one is going to be around the design of it. So I know we've discussed public workshops, or staff and previous boards have discussed public workshops and input. So I just wanted to stress that whatever, and I know we're going to do it, but in everything that we do, we make sure that we leverage all available tools, technology, and resources to get public input and have a workshop at the very least, just so we can get public input. And then I know we're coordinating or working with FDOT on their PD need, their designs, and their impact on the Seafood Shack. So I'm okay with all of that. I think it's a good idea to coordinate with them on the transportation impact and some of the road designs that they're considering. I think it's a good idea, given the bridge. I will highlight the design and previous boards. We've talked a lot about parking. We've talked about the boat ramp, marina, dry dock, all that good stuff. But it's been clear there hasn't been, beyond just purchasing it, a clear vision for what we want with this beyond those things. And I'm here to at least articulate that from the district's perspective. We do want the boat ramp. We want to give boaters that access. But thinking long-term in the future, I would like to see staff present a plan to this board about what is really the future of boat ramps. And yesterday, I think in the strategic planning discussion, we had your staff's list of strategic priorities and boat ramps were discussed. I didn't get to it. It was a long meeting. But I would like to see in the future what our plan is for not just doing what we're doing today in terms of general upkeep maintenance, but what is our plan for boat ramps in the future in terms of the amenities, what are the things we'd like to do to respond to the needs of residents. This will be a great opportunity for us to test some new and innovative ideas, and I'm on board for that as well. But in the future, I think let's put a business case together for that, for this property first, and evaluate what we can bring to other, or to existing boat ramps in the future. I highly doubt we're gonna have more opportunities to add more boat ramps in the county beyond this property and another one. So let's make sure we get it right. Design, I do want to make sure we put a ferry there. A long-term transportation for Cortez will absolutely need to have ferry transit between Cortez and Bridge Street. Bridge Street already has a pier, so it works. This can allow us to reduce the amount of cars on the road and give residents that are not boaters an ability to leverage this boat ramp. And given the scale of the property, I think it'd be a good idea for us to have to be good stewards of traffic of our neighbors and residents in the county, who don't want to sit in traffic, go into the island, Bridge Street in particular, and just enjoy it and not deal with the traffic and concerns there. So the design absolutely needs to include ferry storage and a ferry transit option to Bridge Street. We have a great plan. I won't rehash that from yesterday, but it absolutely needs to have that. The other thing is, the other factor I want to raise is with the two bridge projects that we have coming to that area, quite a few in the district and the county, with the replacement of the Cortez Bridge coming soon and then Manatee Avenue Bridge after, we will lose two very good fishing locations for residents that they've enjoyed, and it's just a long pastime for any Floridian that enjoys fishing to just get on the bridge, cast a line over, and just catch something and enjoy it and that experience. With the new heights of the bridge coming in, we will be losing two informal fishing locations, given the height of the new bridges. So I do want us staff to solicit public input and at least consider, if you need a motion for it, let me know, what we can do to allow residents to enjoy the boat ramp and have some place to just cast a line and fish. I'm not saying build a pier, I'm leaving it open-ended, but at least have in the design an option to just fish in that spot. I mean, it's just a great Cortez pastime. It's an historic fishing village for a reason, and it's a great community and that is synonymous with just the activity of fishing out there. So if we can I absolutely want to see staff consider an option to give the public the ability to just fish, because they will lose it off of two bridges, and it's very difficult to do that within Bradenton, and certainly Palmetto as well. So at least consider that. Then really lastly, just what are we going to do about the existing leases? I know there hasn't really been clear direction from this board about that. I mean, there's been good ideas, but there are a lot of great places here, like Annie's and other places that have been longtime staples of that property. I'm fully on board with this board discussing, I'm on board with the idea of us discussing options to discuss what a future might look like for places that already have lease agreements with the current property owner, prior property owner now, and just at least having public input on that process of, how can you keep some of these businesses here, or what are some other ways we can ensure that we're not disrupting the ability for residents to just enjoy a lot of those businesses that have had a tremendous impact in our community. So it's just been an ask from residents. Summarizing all that to say, let's find a way to keep some of those businesses around in some of the design, but again, solicit public input fundamentally, not just Commissioner Tal talking, that's the community talking. A small piece, but let's consider, given the amount of traffic that we will be seeing there, noise and safety for surrounding neighbors. I get it, it's a boat ramp. I mean, people are going to come there. We are offering a public amenity. So I think there's naturally going to be some tension over it, but at least in the design, consider noise abatement and safety considerations for pedestrians, given the increase in the pedestrian utilization I'd like to see there. Other than that, yeah, I know, I get it's a lot, but it's a massive project. Perhaps we can consider phasing it in some ways. The only real, the one thing I'm hesitant on, and I'm going to push back on a little bit, is is Manatee County effectively serving as a marina, competing with private businesses and industry in that surrounding area? Like, I know that's been discussed in the past of us operating a fully fledged marina, but to my point yesterday, and just generally my philosophy on the role of government, we have to be very mindful as a county in terms of what businesses we want to get into and not get into. I'm very hesitant for us to get into new enterprises. I'm not aware of any existing facility that really serves as could serve as a proper marina that can compete with the industry. So I would just like to get staffs really to see a business case if we actually are going to go down that path, because to me it seems as if we're straying outside of our core competency on that one. I mean, I'm open to being convinced otherwise, but I'm going to tell you that will be a pushback you'll see from residents and certainly some of the business owners there. But that's a lot. I just wanted to get your input on that, and some of my board members as well.
Yeah, on the last point first is, I'll just reiterate, the primary requirement we're meeting here is just for public boat ramp right now. But if there's additional scope through the working groups that the board wants us to incorporate in there, then absolutely we'll have those discussions, sir. Back to the, in the immediate interim, there's no current leases. We're supposed to have a clear title of the property, which we do. We won't have the ability to have any leases currently, as if you visit the property, there's so much storm damage, the property's unsafe. All of the facilities are condemned, and we'll have to demo and rebuild with our new design. Most of the slips and docks and piers are destroyed as well. There's many boats that are still 10 to 15, I think, that are still capsized, unable to be removed. We'll have to work through with our natural resources folks and WCIND to remove those boats or make sure that they're removed and the property is made safe. So we're gonna, as soon as we can, put up a fence and make sure we cordon off. We've also, meeting with the sheriff on Friday, we've already been in talks with him to potentially get some of his operations in there sooner rather than later. Some of the boat slip areas or the seawall areas are able to house boats, so we'll talk to the sheriff and see what his requirements are. But he is open to operating out of there as well, so in the interim. Those are the immediate plans while we work through programming, procurement, design, and construction, sir.
Got it, thank you. And I'm aware of the condition. I think we do need to consider the leases. Again, I'm not going to be a huge stickler on it, but residents want to see us at least engage on the old leases that were now terminated, because, kind of speaking to my point earlier, this isn't just some slab of concrete we're throwing onto the ground. This can be, I mean, it can start off as that, sure, for boat ramps. It's the immediate need. But it has been discussed by staff in the past, and we've been reported on it in a number of papers that there have been consideration given to the businesses there. I want to make sure we're going to at least be, well, the public will tell you, I'll tell you that much. But from the staff's perspective, that we are at least doing some outreach to mitigate, or at least discussing options with them, because at the end of the day, if we're not discussing with them, I'm going to hear about it, and I'm going to make sure staff hears about it. So let's just make sure we're proactive about engaging with some of them. And then speaking more broadly to long-term plan for this boat ramp, again, given I'm speaking to the amenities now, but our boat ramps don't really have great amenities. That's just feedback I hear from residents. I think we all agree with that, which is why I'm in the future looking to see how can we rope in either those leases or those, well, not the leases, but some of the businesses that have operated there in the past, or just come up with new and innovative ideas to respond to the community's needs and say, hey, we don't want to just put a slab of concrete. We want to make this ADA accessible. We want the public to enjoy it, given that it's the only place in Cortez the public can probably publicly access and enjoy outside of special events and so on. So let's just think creatively about those things. And again, I'm not stuck up on the previously terminated leases, but what I am challenging staff to do in the future and during that design phase is consider the amenities and more broadly a plan to create a business case around what they can look like. And then we can then apply that to other boat ramps, like new and existing ones as well. I think that'd be a really good idea for us to think about. Yeah, I just look forward to some of the existing continuing conversation around this issue as well. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? No? I will say, I think 95% of the leases that were there were marina leases, and we don't have a marina, so it's going to be difficult to negotiate those leases back. A lot of it was boat storage on marinas, like pirate ships. Then the restaurant was owned by the owner, So that wasn't a lease per se. So the only lease that's on mainland ground that could be contemplated that I'm aware of, and I may be wrong, is Annie's. And I do fully want to try to make sure we keep that lease. And I'm going to defer to you. This is your baby. You just give us best advice. But Annie's has been there for a long time. I don't care if we call it a marina, we call it a boat ramp, we call it a fishing pier. People need bait, and that's a historic part of Cortez. And Bruce is willing to put money into getting that thing back up and running, but he can't do that without some assurance that he's going to have a viable business. He's not going to put money into it just to have it knocked down sometime in the future. So I would ask, I'm not asking you to do anything, but I would ask for someone to reach out to Bruce and start that conversation to see if that's a viable option. I'd love for that to be a viable option. I think the community in Cortez would love that. It would give them some sense of normalcy in that area as we make changes to the Seafood Shack footprint. But that's my request to you. And I have Commissioner Bearden on the board.
I appreciate your comments, Commissioner or Chairman Cruz. I completely agree with you. Definitely need to look into the marina option slash boat ramp and see how we can utilize that space to the max capacity. We know that Marina Jacks is currently, owned by the city of Sarasota. We have a great opportunity to drive a lot of traffic, a lot of business into that area. And I just think it's definitely an opportunity to look at those options. So I appreciate your hard work on trying to figure this piece out. I know you guys are going to do a great job.
If there's nothing else, there's no action taken here. So I appreciate the update. I'm glad to hear we acquired that. I know that was a long haul with that seller, but now it's ours. Now go do something great with it.
Sir?
All right, thank you both very much. Thank you, Charles, for all your efforts on that. We're going to go back to public comment, but before I do that, the only commissioner agenda item on here is mine, and it's not even really mine, it's just per rules of this board, section 3.5. The board has to formally approve the appointments to all the advisory boards that we all discussed at the end of last year, so that's all this is just the formality of the rules. I see no one on the board. I already have a motion by Commissioner Ballard, seconded by Commissioner Bearden. I will open this up for public comment. Is there anybody on the phone?
No hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, I will close public comment, and there's, again, nobody on the board. Motion made by Ballard, seconded by Bearden. All in favor, please, everyone cast your vote now. And that is approved 7-0. That is the end of the official agenda. I am now going to reopen up citizen comment for anyone who did not speak this morning. I've got like 2 citizens in the room. Anyone? No? Is there anyone on the phone?
We have one caller ending in 454.
All right. Go ahead this time. Well, because we need to keep a list. This is supposed to be for people who hadn't spoke the first time around, who didn't get a chance to speak at the beginning, not a second one. Go ahead. Charlene?
I got muted. All right. This is Charlene Dow, Manatee County, but this is a request for somebody else. Can I do that, or is there a question for Selena Strickland? About a suggestion in the future for the county staff to provide an environmentalist when new developments are being approved in the approval process. And so instead of relying on the builders to provide an environmental report, that it should be the county that provides the environmental analysis of, what animals are there and the other conditions that go into a report, in the approval process, and that was it. She wanted me to ask and put that in there as something that should be looked at in the future. Is that okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other callers?
Next caller ends in 509.
509, are you there?
509, please unmute yourself. Going once, going twice.
All right, any other callers?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, then I will close public comment, and I'll go to the county attorney. Do you have anything for us? No? County administrator, do you have anything for us?
It was on consent. We did approve the legislative priorities. The corrections were made. Of course, we understand Rubio's name's in this. Time we get to DC in March, subject to change, so we'll update it if needed.
We'll get little stickers.
Yeah. But we did add Commissioner Ballard's comments about the fresh start, and I think we made all the other corrections that were required.
All right. Commissioners, any comments from any of you?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a quick, it's a feel-good. It's great for us. This coming Friday, we will be mentioned in a Forbes article by Peregrine Technologies, which is used by our public safety. Director Fisk was instrumental in bringing Peregrine into the EOC. And Peregrine basically is an interface that uses all of public safety, law enforcement, that centralizes all of our data that regards to storms, anything to do with public safety and like that. I know Commissioner Sadiq is a data geek, so he'll love this. But it's a great tool for our public safety to be able to use. And I know that Director Fisk will be speaking this Thursday at a conference up in Pinellas, and also at the Governor's Hurricane Conference with regards to Peregrine and how we use their systems. But it'd be pretty cool. We're going to mention Manatee County in a Forbes article. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. But it's a feel-good for us and for what a great job Director Fisk does and our public safety and EOC did during all the hurricanes. They were with us, boots on the ground, all three hurricanes. So, and they provided a lot of stuff that helped us bolster search and rescue efforts, expediting storm recovery, and things like that. So it's a great system that she uses, but it'd be cool to be in a Forbes magazine article.
So look at that. New board, and we get mentioned in national news for good reasons.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right.
That's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Feltz, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Commissioner Sadiq? Commissioner McCann? Nope. Commissioner Ballard?
Nope, I went out of turn with my good news.
All right. Commissioner Bearden? I will say very happy birthday to Commissioner Amanda Ballard. Have a great day today. Now we got you out early, so you have your whole day free to go hang out with your kids or whatever you're doing today. All right. Without objection, motion to approve. We are going to adjourn.